whistle. Dog pile in the Blues blue crease. Now here we go. And that scrum right in the slot. Stützle is going. Two guys jump. Here comes Hofer to come out and help his teammate. And Hofer grabs a hold of Stützle. He's saving pucks. He's shooting pucks. He's fighting for his teammates.
Alongside Alex and T1 on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. That's what it sounded like on Saturday at the very end of that game as there was a scrum. Joel Hofer doing a little bit of everything, Alex.
That one was awesome.
He was unbelievable in net. He's shooting the puck. I don't think Jim Montgomery was thrilled about that, by the way.
No, he said afterwards he was happy. He said,
yeah,
I was frustrated it didn't go in, and then he joked after, and he said, heck, our goalie shot better. He shot more precise on net than some of our forwards did.
Okay. I don't think in the moment he was feeling that way.
I mean, I get the frustrated look, but I think he was, at least afterwards, he was happy about it, which I can't blame him.
Well, he's got that. Then he gets in on the scrum. He did a little bit of everything. And Joel Hofer has been awesome recently. Now, this is a small sample size, but in his last 3 appearances, he has made 78 saves on the 80 shots that he has seen. That's a .975 save percentage.
Is that good, T-Bone?
This is the kind of goaltending that the Blues have been starved for this season. I'm going to go ahead and ask the question that we're all wondering, Alex. Is it time to go with the hot hand in net for a little while?
Absolutely it is. And I don't know if there are people gasping that Ferrario, the biggest Bennington honk, just said that. But absolutely it is. I mean, I tweeted this out after the game. Now, it's changed since because a couple of other goaltenders have had some success as well. But of goalies that have started 7 or more games since November 1st, Joel Hofer, after that victory, was top 10 in the National Hockey League. He had a .923, .924 save percentage since November 1st. And Jordan Binnington in that same time frame has been about like an .860 save percentage. So, yeah, he's gone through it. Joel Hofer has been the hot hand right now. And this is always how you're supposed to do it, right? This is why you have a 1A and a 1B. Because when your 1A struggles, well, then the next guy is supposed to step up and grab the net and run with it while your other guy figures it out. So Joel Hofer has looked elite in almost every game that he has gone into and started for the Blues. Binnington has had his struggles. So with a lot of hockey games coming up, you're playing both of them. You've got a set of back-to-backs this week, a set of back-to-backs next week. You've got some road games in there. I think 2 of every 3 games, you should be seeing Joel Hofer in between the pipes. And this is not me saying that Jordan Binnington is a problem and you need to be done with it, because by January, by February, you're going to get the same Jordan Binnington we always have. But for right now, you need points, and you're going to have to pick up points winning hockey games in low-scoring affairs, which means your goalie needs to be locked in, which means Joel Hofer should get a little bit more of a runway here.
I don't think there's even an argument against it at this point.
No.
Jordan Binnington, is in his last 15 appearances, has an .870 save percentage. I think Binnington will be fine. He's not fine right now, though. He's very much not fine. He's performing like a below-average backup goaltender at this exact moment. Meanwhile, your other guy, I don't know how long it's sustainable, because Hofer was also performing really poorly at the beginning of the season. He had a poor stretch as well. But right now, I'm going to ride with the hot hand. I've got to get this team back on track. If they're going to have any chance at reaching the postseason this year, and somehow in this godforsaken conference, they do still have a chance, you should ride with Joel Hofer right now, man. He's got to be the number one for the here and now. Like, tomorrow night, Boston, I'm going Joel Hofer.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got a back-to-back.
I'm going Hofer versus Nashville. And then Binnington gets the start against Chicago, and then Hofer gets Nashville, Hofer gets Winnipeg, Binnington gets the Rangers, Hofer gets Florida.
I would be okay going Benner versus Nashville and then back home against Chicago, giving that opportunity to Joel Hofer. And then that'll decide what I do on Monday. I'd probably go back to Joel Hofer, so that way Nashville doesn't see Benner twice in a row, like within the span of 5 days or whatever that is. So, but yeah, 3 of the next 4 games, that means that I'm going to Joel Hofer.
You've got 8 games before the Christmas break. 5 of those 8, Joel Hofer should start in.
I'm good with that.
And that's just, and I think you did a great job kind of illustrating it, but let's nip this in the bud. This is not a controversy. There's no controversy here. First of all, the question I say is, who's going to be the number 1 goaltender of the future for the Blues?
Hofer.
I mean, yeah. Binnington is
by age.
Binnington's getting old. His contract is going to be up in a couple of years. I don't know what they're going to do with it. Hofer's going to be the guy. So you got to give him a little bit more runway. But for right now, this is what happens. Binnington, if you look at his career, is not a great goaltender in December. But you know where he's awesome? January, February, really February, March, and April is where he thrives. January is a little bit above average. But in February, March, and April is when Jordan Binnington hits his peak. So this is what you should be doing. You should be riding a goaltender that is playing well for you. These guys play similar. And then when Jordan Binnington is ready to take back the crease, and he goes in between the pipes. That's the one thing that's frustrating when people see this, like, oh, goalie controversy. No, there's no controversy. One guy's going to start, the other guy's going to be the hot hand, and you ride that hot hand until it cools off.
Ryan Crawford over on YouTube. YouTube.com/101ESPN STL is where you can go to find us. He says, what terrible defense in front of Binnington. Without Binner, we don't win the game last night. Holloway had to step in to play defense in front of Logan. It was pathetic. That terrible defense sure seems to be doing well in front of Joel Hofer lately. I mean, I just don't know. I can't give a bunch of excuses any longer. Binner hasn't played well, guys.
Yeah. Well, and let's also look.
I think he'll be fine, but he's not right now.
Look at the state of that game, too. It was a back-to-back where Binnington's getting, typically on a back-to-back, you're getting the raw end of the deal when you're the second goaltender because your team is gassed, especially after the Ottawa game, to where you essentially went down to 3-4 defensemen and you were down forwards. That was a game that your team was a little bit more taxed in. But, yeah, I'm not going to make the excuse of, oh, defense plays poorly in front of Binnington and not Hofer. It's the same defense. It's the same style of goaltender. Are there mistakes? Yeah, but Binnington has been giving up goals lately that he typically makes. Now, he made a couple of big saves in that game, specifically at the end of it against Montreal, but he also gave up a couple of goals that you look at and you're like, oh, man, you needed a save at that point. So
we got this from the text line as well, from 636. Are you guys suggesting that Binnington didn't have a good game? I thought he was fine. Yeah. That's it. I thought he was fine. Yeah. And the game before that, I thought he was bad. Game before that, he got pulled 10 minutes into it. Game before that, he was fine. Game before that, mediocre.
I got to look at the games you're talking about here.
No. Like New Jersey, Ottawa, Anaheim when he got pulled.
Anaheim was bad.
And then Montreal.
Anaheim was bad. New Jersey was good. Ottawa was good. It was okay.
It was fine.
Yeah. Anaheim and Boston were the problem. And then, honestly, the one that I'm looking at against Montreal, that Dobson goal. He's given up goals that are heavy shots from beyond the faceoff dot along the walls that he typically doesn't give up. And that's the other thing.
Your other dude is, like, standing on his head right now. So
yeah. It's just the difference of this one. But, like, let's also remember Jordan Binnington. How many times have we talked about it? Have we been told, like, when he gets fatigued, when he gets used a lot, this is what can happen. The play dips a little bit. This is not a bad thing to pull Binnington back a little bit and let Joel Hofer run with this one. But, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and act as if Binnington's playing at the same level as Joel Hofer. Guys, Joel Hofer just went out there and stopped 41 of 42 shots against an Ottawa Senators team at second place.
You want to talk about defense in front of him for half of that game, basically. He didn't have the full defense in front of him.
The dude was playing on the
Forget
penalty
if they were good
kill.
or bad. Like, half of a period, he was on the penalty kill, and the dude made, like, crazy saves.
BK texted in that Ottawa Senators game, and he goes, 2 shots in 1 period. I said, yeah, 8 of the 20 minutes they were in the penalty box.
So,
that was Hofer.
I don't know what else to tell you. He is deserving of the opportunity right now to run with this thing the way that a few years ago,
Don't
your
say
guy
the name.
Husso got the chance.
Yeah, but the difference is this goalie won't choke like that.
He
really
might,
did.
though, and that's okay.
Well, no.
Because Ville Husso, for a little while, ran with that thing and gave you a chance to get to the playoffs.
If it wasn't for him, you're not in
you're right.
the dance.
So now, you got to find a way to stack up some of these wins. The Western Conference is wide open right now. It feels crazy to me that this is possible, but the Western Conference, you're right now 2 points out of a playoff spot. That's insane. But since it's the case, since it's reality for you, give yourself the best chance.
I mean, because in all reality, they're fighting with... I think Winnipeg's going to be in the playoffs once Hellebuck gets healthy, and that's where the playoff conversation gets difficult. But you're fighting with Utah, San Jose, and Chicago right now.
Right now, it feels like it's the same story for the last 4 years, and we had this conversation about the Cardinals. Their fight to get to the playoffs isn't up until the season ends. Their fight right now is till the trade deadline.
Correct.
so that they aren't selling off pieces. How often have we had this conversation for teams that underperform of, well, yeah, but like they've got plenty of time. No, they are running out of time because Army's already having conversations.
I wouldn't even say it's before the trade deadline. I think you got to figure it out before December 20th.
When the roster freeze,
because from all the noise we've heard of the Blues calling people, you don't know what teams look at that point.
That one could be more of a hockey trade. So, like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't the one that we look back on and say, okay, that's when Army determined they're not a playoff team. I can tell you when the trade deadline comes around, if they are not in the playoff picture, he will be selling off major pieces.
Do you know where
even
the
if they
Blues
are in
rank in goal differential this season?
Oh, they've got to be towards the bottom of the National Hockey League. They're like minus 27.
Do you know where they rank?
I would say last.
Out of the whole NHL?
And I would say
30th.
they're last.
Oh, they can't be.
Yeah,
last.
I'd say they're last.
No.
They're
30th.
last.
Yeah, they're last. I know it's minus 27 because I looked at it the other night.
The only other team that's minus 20 or below is Nashville.
See, that's who I was thinking was going to be behind.
Good thing they got two games
Nashville's
against that
minus
team.
26. The Blues are minus 27. And then after that, it's Vancouver at minus 19, who's been kicking your ass all season long. Calgary at minus 16 and Seattle at minus 13.
What do you mean kicking their ass all season long? You beat them.
Vancouver?
Yeah. You don't remember game 3 of the regular season?
No.
I do.
I remember the hat trick that they've given up
that
to
was the key
one
for
player
Sherwood game.
multiple times.
We're going to forget about that guy. That guy doesn't matter.
He does.
No.
He does
Does
when he
against
plays the
us.
Blues.
No, he doesn't matter.
He has,
Maybe
what,
trade for
5
him.
goals in 2 games against the Blues,
Yeah,
is that right?
I think it's 5 because he didn't get a hat trick in 2 games.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm
got, what,
BK.
6
It's
on the year?
11:15. Your time check
No.
brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers,
9.
an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. You guys can get involved in the show. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line to do so. You can check us out on YouTube, as always,
12.
at youtube.com/101ESPN STL. By the way, if you go over to the YouTube page, you'll see the Redbird Report. Latest edition with 2,500 views. Woo! If you beg on the air, people will go over there and listen, baby. Even if you didn't listen, you clicked on it, and that's really all we ask for here.
Yeah, we want clicks.
I'd say it's
Click
a little disappointing.
And download or subscribe. Meanwhile, you've got 2,000 views on the Last Minute Blues podcast as well. Well done, Alex Ferrario.
I already wasn't in a good place coming into the show today, so I'd prefer you not to poke the tiger.
That is... Let's see here. I think that is 10 in a row podcast for you guys with at least 2,000 views, Alex. 11 in a row.
Keep counting. Maybe it's more than that.
It's 11. Then get back
What happened on that 12th
There was
one?
an interview, and it got to 1,700.
I think I remember that interview. That one checks out. Okay. I'll give that
That's
one.
all I'm going to say is that you had a nice streak going, all right?
I'll give that
And
one
it
up.
continues with your views this week.
What's
So
great
well
about
done
what
by
you just did, buddy, is you just made everybody go over and start clicking on the podcast to find out who that interview was.
That's right. That's all you got to do.
That one will get to 2,000.
Alex, how was your weekend?
Not good. Not good, Brandon.
What happened?
Well, that's not fair to say. My daughter had her first birthday party of friends at school. That was very fun to see.
That's awesome.
She loved it. Got to run around and play with her friends.
Good on you.
Had 2 hockey games, 2 wins, huh?
All right. Yeah. This is a lot of winning in your life this weekend. Then.
No. You guys...
Survivor pool went well?
Nope. It's
Easy picks this week?
It's literally the worst weekend possible. The Survivor pool is officially done. Oh. Thanks a lot, Bucks, for that trash performance.
Yeah.
We'll talk about our pick'em. And then I spent a lot of time.
First weekend in the NFL with legalized sports betting here in the state of Missouri.
And you know what? It wasn't even a whole lot of NFL. It was a whole lot of NHL. And let me tell you, every single one of them, I think together I probably put 31 bets, 31 parlays out there between NHL and NFL games. Guess how many I won, guys?
I mean,
Guess how many?
If you're putting that many pucks on net, typically you're going to get one or
You
two.
think, right? Nope, the goalie pulled the shutout.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You went up against Huso this weekend?
No, I went up against the best of the best. So any situation that you think that I could have won in this weekend, I lost.
I mean, the sports books were just handing out money.
Yeah, they were.
All weekend long. They were like, here, please, continue to put more money into your account so you can lose it later on. But right now, you're going to win a boatload of money. So this weekend, I came home with
Shut up.
a nice weekend for your boy. I had a 6-leg parlay yesterday. I won about $500 on that one.
Shut your mouth.
came home with, I would say, pretty close to 4 figures.
Oh, I actually forgot.
Overall.
I forgot one on mine too. I lost both of my fantasy football leagues, and I was kicked out of the playoffs in one of them.
Oh, I'm in the playoffs in both of mine.
So
you lost your survivor pool. You lost all of your bets. Every single one
Every
of them.
single
all
bet.
30 of them.
Yep, lost fantasy football.
Lost in Did you do well on underdog this weekend?
Not good on underdog. That
Okay.
was a part of that fantasy stuff that we're talking about. It was let me just say this. It was a poor weekend for Ferrario where I had a lot of down feelings throughout the evening.
Okay.
Good thing I had Blues hockey to cheer me up.
Yep.
Yeah. It was the ultimate losing of a weekend for your boy Ferrario.
All right. Well, I had a great weekend.
Shut up, man.
And it didn't even upset me yesterday
all
that
of
the
you-
Kansas City Chiefs lost because guess what? I made money off of that.
Yeah, well, part of the problem on my fantasy football and on my bets was that. So
It was very nice to have. I not only bet money line on the Texans yesterday, Alex, I then saw the line continue moving toward the Chiefs, and I was like, this is stupid. Double down. And then it happened again, and I said, more. Again.
Oh, man. You want to know the most
Chiefs, by the way, were minus 320 on the money line
That's
when they
ridiculous.
went for 4th down. And that was in the 4th quarter.
And you
I
hit
said,
that?
more.
Give me more
Again.
Texans. I'll tell you the one that I had that was about as brutal of a beatdown as you can have. I had an 8-leg parlay with shots in NHL games, and everybody just needed to get one shot on goal.
Get help.
No, it wasn't my money. It was the free money they were offering. It was one shot on goal. One. And the guy had it. And then they reviewed it, and then they took the shot away. Parlay went down the drain.
From the 618, you guys have a serious gambling problem. No, man, it was free money this weekend. If you think I'm not going to take their money, you're wrong.
I legitimately lost nothing this weekend, which was great.
There were multiple books that said, please take this $100 from us. And I said, okay. I would be happy to do that.
Like $300 from people.
Yeah, I got $100 on Thursday, $100 yesterday, and it was literally like they said, if you put a deposit in here, we will give you not bonus bets. We will give you $100. And I said, okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I hate
Please. I
every
would love
single
to.
one of you that's texting in showing me how much money you all won over the weekend.
You're
all
happy
dead to me.
for all of you
You're
that
all
you
dead
had
to
a
me.
great weekend in the sports betting.
I can't get happy for people.
Now, be careful.
Yes, be careful out there.
It can go quickly, and it's not always easy. They don't always say, here's a free $100. Most of the time, you're like Alex.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm not going to bet unless it's benefiting me.
if you do it in a way that is just fun for you and you don't care if you lose, it can be a hell of a lot of fun. All right, coming up in 15 minutes, we will, yes, talk about the Chiefs' run of dominance officially coming to an end. We do want to hear from you throughout the day, 314-399-9646, also on YouTube at youtube.com/101ESPN STL. Coming up next, big news over the weekend. The College Football Playoff Committee has finally come to its conclusion. Hey, so Miami was better than Notre Dame all along. Who could have seen that one coming? So why did it take so long to make what I believe to be the right decision? We'll get into that next year on 101 ESPN.
There's one spot left in terms of at-large teams, and it almost certainly is going to be Miami or Notre Dame. So, number 10, and it is Miami. Without playing. Wow. Without playing on the final Saturday. Notre Dame had been ranked ahead of them the entire time. And now they flipped them.
It happened just as we all suspected that it would. That was ESPN yesterday as they officially announced the college football playoff. The 12 teams that will be participating this year. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Alex, I think the decision was the correct one. I thought all along Miami's resume was better than Notre Dame's because they had basically the same resume, and they played each other head-to-head. The committee made this more difficult than it needed to be. But in their mind, for whatever reason, you couldn't go to the tiebreaker, which was the head-to-head, until they were put right next to one another. I would argue, if you believe the resumes are so similar that the head-to-head would then put Miami over Notre Dame, then you never actually thought Notre Dame was better. But whatever, neither here nor there. Let's take a listen real quick, Alex, before I get your thoughts on the matter, to the College Football Playoff Committee chair, the Arkansas athletic director, on why they made the move this weekend.
We felt like the way BYU performed in their championship game, a second loss to Texas Tech in a similar fashion, was worthy of Miami moving ahead of them in the rankings. And once we moved Miami ahead of BYU, then we had that side-by-side comparison that everybody had been hungering for with Notre Dame and Miami. And you look at those two teams on paper, and they're almost equal in their schedule strength, their common opponents, the results against their common opponents. But the one metric we had to fall back on, again, was the head-to-head.
That explanation is infuriating.
Correct.
And T-Bone, I know, went off on it last week, and we were talking about this in the office. If it's always been head-to-head with those two teams, and if it's always been, well, you know, we had to wait till they were close with each other, and that's how we're going to view them, and Miami had the upper hand on Notre Dame, then why is it 4 weeks ago you had Notre Dame at 10th while you had Miami at 18th, which, by the way, checks records, both sitting at 6-2. And Miami still had that win against Notre Dame. Then you fast forward a couple of weeks later. Notre Dame sitting at 9th. Miami 13th. Still same record. So for the last 5 weeks, we've been looking at this as Notre Dame is significantly better than Miami because they still lost to Miami. And what they just said was they're the exact same team. They played the same record. And then once you have other teams fall apart and they get closer, then the head-to-head matchups truly matter.
And this is why it's the show that it ends up getting them into a bad spot. Now, they're not going to eliminate the show. They want the show.
They should eliminate the show.
I agree, but they're not going to because it brings in money. It brings in money. It drives interest for all of us. Like on the outside looking in, we talk about it. Let's be real. Like we spend time on Wednesdays programming our show because it's a dead sports day in the middle of the week based upon what we saw the night prior in the college football playoff rankings. Right. We are part of the problem.
Starting next year, we're not going to do it.
I'm
we're
not the
going to
problem.
fall for it.
I don't even watch it.
And the reason being is because there's interest in it. It drives interest in the sport. So they do this for a reason. But all of those are just for the show. I don't know how many times we have to see this before we realize, hey, the only ranking that actually matters is the last one. It's the only one. Before then, man, they're just putting these things out as a trial run. It's just trial balloons every single week. And Alex, if I'm being real, I think they got it right. The only one that I actually had any sort of an issue with is I think Ole Miss is probably a little higher than they should be. Like Lane Kiffin is no longer there. I think Texas A&M should be ahead of Ole Miss. But do I really have a significant lean one way or the other? Not really. I don't really care. They got the 12 teams, in my opinion, correct. And that is supposed to be the committee's goal. So if we're just judging them based upon the final rankings, they did a good job. But the process to get here was so incredibly flawed, and it made no sense at any point. So there's a lesson to be learned here, but I think it's more for us than it is for the committee. I don't think they're going to change anything in the future. other than expanding the playoff, which is definitely coming.
Oh, great.
You want a hot take? I think Alabama should be out.
Do you really believe that, though?
Yeah, I kind of do.
That sounded Tony.
No, I mean, I think it's a minority take on this one. I was just reading a couple of pieces on The Athletic this morning, and I mean, they're not wrong in the sense like you had an ugly loss to Florida State early on. The one win that you had that was big was against Georgia, and they showed you that that was a mirage because you had -3 rushing yards against Georgia.
Without both of their top running backs.
Sure, but still. And then the Alabama.
-3 is hard to do.
The Alabama versus Auburn game, like you had a commanding lead in that one, and you coughed
That's
it
why
up.
they bumped up. Remember, they had a really impressive win there.
Wait, did you watch the second half? You weren't supposed to watch the second half. The committee did.
So, like,
The committee said a week ago, man, that really impressive win by Alabama. That's why we moved them up in our rankings. Okay.
Like they made the point on the Athletic article, which I agree with. Like Notre Dame had more rushing yards than Alabama this weekend. Like what is happening?
You had more rushing yards this weekend than Alabama.
Congrats, man.
Hey, cool. The bets don't matter, but this one
Hardy
did.
continued to improve in his lead in the SEC.
So, like, I get it. It's the SEC, and the SEC's not going to let this happen because they run college football for all the money that they bring in. But, like, if we're going to really do this, yeah, I think Alabama should be punished for how bad that performance was, and Notre Dame should get in.
So one of the many reasons why they weren't going to be punished is because they've already set the precedent. These games can only help you by playing that extra game, that 13th game of the regular season of the season. You're not going to get hurt,
And I think that's fair.
I do too.
You should be hurt when you have -3 rushing yards.
We shouldn't be playing those games.
Yes, well, you're also there
Just
too.
eliminate them. If you want to make that some kind of a play-in week where, like, this past week you could have had, I don't know, Miami versus Notre Dame, for example.
No, because then Miami lays an egg and people are like, oh, they shouldn't be in.
And then, like, BYU versus Vandy, something along those lines. I think that would have been a hell of a lot more intriguing, similar to what we do with Dayton, the first four, whatever that is that we do. Like, this would be a more fun version where you're not watching teams 65 through 68. Instead, you're watching teams, I don't know, 13 through 16
Also,
participate to get into the playoffs.
somebody made a good point on the YouTube chat. Then why did it hurt by BYU?
Because they lost. Well, they were out already. That's where I think it's
I thought he
getting
said,
kind
though,
of-
in that cut that it was because BYU lost that Miami was able to leapfrog over them.
because BYU lost
to
they
Texas
had to,
Tech twice.
kind of had to technically drop in the rankings.
In a game that shouldn't have mattered.
They also have no quality wins this year.
Yeah.
Like they have one win against a team of really any substance, and that's Utah. If you want to argue Arizona, fine. They beat Arizona as well. Alabama just has a better resume than BYU, so they didn't drop as far because of that.
But then what's Miami's quality win? Notre Dame?
Yeah,
As
and that's why
they're out of it, and BYU got punished for losing to Texas Tech, who's probably the best team,
I think
one of the best
BYU
teams in
got
the
a
country.
little bit screwed on their resume talk based on, like, yes, I understand their wins were not that great. They also didn't have the ugly loss like
doubt. And
Alabama
they went 11-2.
had. Yeah, and their two losses, like you said, were to
Texas
Texas
Tech.
Tech, who looks like a national contender.
All of this is why we will be expanding to 16.
Woohoo!
And I think it's the right call. Expanding to 16 will allow us to have this past week, get rid of it, make the games more meaningful. I enjoyed watching Ohio State versus Indiana. I thought it was a really fun game. It was two excellent teams on a really big stage. Other than that, though, I didn't really enjoy watching the college football this weekend, if I'm just being real. I liked Friday night. Those games were fun. Now, they weren't close, but they were fun. Saturday did almost nothing for me.
I think I watched one game Saturday,
really?
and
I
it was
enjoyed
Indiana,
Saturday.
Ohio State.
I enjoyed Saturday slate because there's a little bit of meat on the bone for the Big 12 game. BYU wins, they're in, and
The
Texas
Duke
Tech
game
is
was
in.
fun, but
The
like
Duke game, I love
I
the
didn't watch that
chaos
out of
that was
precedent.
involved.
I wasn't going to let T-Bone
Ohio
win.
State and Indiana was an excellent game. The SEC championship, that one was like the worst of the bunch, but that was just because
and it
Georgia
also had zero
steamrolled
stakes,
them.
and we knew that going in.
Yeah, so like that's the one that, like, sure, if you want to say that one didn't have anything to it, but like even the Big Ten game didn't have anything to it. It was still a fun game to watch. I enjoyed the college football this weekend. Now I'm totally cool with getting rid
I
of
was
the
about to
championship
say,
games.
you know what would have made it even more fun?
Play-ins.
As if these had higher stakes to them.
If I
Or
could have
hear me
watched
out.
Miami versus Vanderbilt, I would have watched every
If you
second.
had
Start the 12-team playoff.
If you had 4 games over the weekend, one Friday night and then a 3-game slate on Saturday, and all of them had serious implication of win or go home, that's where you get some serious viewership and legitimate expectations and excitement. These games were just, they were fine. I liked that I had college football on in the background, but it didn't really do a whole lot for me.
I lost one of my parlays in college football too. So
I had Georgia on the money line.
see, this is why I don't bet college football. Also, I shouldn't bet hockey or NFL, baseball, basketball.
I had Virginia on the money line. I hammered that in the second half. That was a little frustrating. That was a bummer.
Yeah, after
The
watching
live
the first
betting's what's going to get me.
after watching the first half,
I hold off, and then I'm watching a game. I'm like, this is stupid. Why are they 2-1? Go.
You're not wrong, actually.
Vegas is wrong. Let's go.
There's been many times I'll look at a hockey game and I'll be like, well, this is stupid. This team's winning. Go, go, go.
I do think that the live lines are the one place where I have an advantage over the books. Now, I think that's probably wrong. In my mind,
look,
I think I'm right.
Anytime you say I have an advantage over the books, you're wrong.
Coming up next, speaking of having an advantage, everybody has an advantage over the Chiefs right now. Is their run of dominance officially over? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends over at Classic Air Care who are out to take care of you and your family with that HVAC system, especially this time of the year, that older furnace you may have. You need to make sure you're staying on top of the maintenance. And Classic Air Care has been taking care of people since 1926 with their 5-star service. They've got incredible customer service. They've got knowledgeable technicians who have been in the business for 30-plus years. It's the one company that I always trust to come out inside my home and take care of our HVAC system. But don't just listen to me. I've talked a lot about how I've used them since 2016. My family's used them for the last 30-plus years. But check out the 5-star reviews that they have, thousands of these over up on their website. This one from Paul. Today I scheduled an HVAC service appointment and was extremely impressed with Christian from Classic Air Care. Polite, highly knowledgeable, very thorough, took the time to explain his work and findings, and he left the area spotless when he was done. He truly was a professional with Classic Air Care. So schedule with them today. Have them come out for those maintenance agreements to check it out. They remind everybody that the filter is something you need to stay on top of. That is an area that could really mess up your HVAC system if you're not changing that one. So call them today. Schedule online. Do me a favor. Tell them Alex Ferrario sent you. That's Classic Air Care and ClassicAirCare.com.
Tanner Hendrickson here with the Sports Center update, driven by Giant Londoff Chevrolet and Giant Londoff Autoplex. Blues took down the Canadians last night 4-3. They'll return home tomorrow night when they take on the Boston Bruins. We'll have pregame coverage tomorrow starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Ferrario. Then puck drop at 7 o'clock with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, we've got Monday Night Football for you as the Chargers take on the Eagles. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock with kickoff at 7:15. The Sports Center update is run by Giant Londoff Chevrolet and Giant Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
He's got it here. Dario Gabawale to the goal line. He's in for the touchdown.
Alex, if you spike the ball into the ground repeatedly, that audio courtesy of NBC, you get roughly a 35 quarterback rating. The reason that I bring this up,
Because J.J. McCarthy's been worse than that this season?
yes, but also Patrick Mahomes had a 19 quarterback rating yesterday.
Oh!
Not QBR, scale of 0 to 100. I'm talking about the quarterback rating, which goes up to 158.
Your
Mahomes was at a
quarterback's
19 yesterday, and that really undersells how good he was. Because he did everything he could to try to drag the Chiefs across the finish line. And his pass catchers, and I say pass catchers very loosely, they did not do a lot of the catching of the football yesterday. They did everything they could to let him down.
They would have been better off just him continuing to run the football.
I agree. I had him at over 60 yards rushing yesterday. He got to 59, but neither here nor there.
Oh, yeah. Does that one feel bad for you,
It
Mr.
was
Winter?
the one that
Had
I
that
didn't
one
do
too.
well yesterday with. Alex, I'm not surprised the Chiefs lost that game. I can't believe how many people were surprised that the Chiefs lost that game. They were without their left and right tackle. They were without their right guard, and this is a team that hasn't been very good all season long anyway.
But see, I'm not surprised people are surprised by it because I know that was a very confusing sentence. It's the Chiefs.
Sure.
It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. Like, they don't lose.
Jason Voorhees,
Yeah.
they don't die. You have to kill them. They don't die.
No, even when you chop the head off, they still find a way to come back. That's like the 18 sequels that were there. But the Chiefs don't do this. They don't lose these football games. For the last 10 years, every time the Chiefs have been in a backs against the wall situation, what do? They'll win. So when I'm looking at it and being like, oh my God, why is the line this? It's because it's the Chiefs. And every time I feel like I'm going to go with the underdog here, I'm going to go with the Texans because the Chiefs are bad. They find a way to win. So that's why I'm not taken back by people's surprise.
So I think people just have failed to adjust this season, though, because that was always the case. It has not been true this season. The Chiefs have not responded the way that they have in the past. This is not the same team that we see in previous iterations go on a run. They had one game where it was like, all right, that was the last gasp. And it was either going to be that, now we know, based upon hindsight 2020, it was either the last gasp or a sign of things to come against Indy. But then we saw Thursday where they lost on Thanksgiving and could not get a stop against Dallas. They had no chance of getting stops against the Cowboys. And then they lose 3 of their offensive linemen, and it was like, why am I supposed to believe in this team? What have they done in the last 3 months to suggest they're going to rise to the occasion? And they didn't. They didn't make the plays. They had their defense in the second half really inspired effort.
Oh, yeah.
But then Andy Reid, it's been one of the worst coaching jobs that I've ever seen from Andy Reid this season all year long. What he did with that 4th down decision is baffling.
Yeah, I mean, I love 4th down going for it, but that was...
You know how aggressive I am in these spots.
That was terrible.
T-Bone, I think, texted into our group chat last night saying that he hated the decision to go for it.
I thought I was missing something.
Assuming that I was going to defend it.
That's why I sent it in.
That was my guess. I said immediately, I hate that. I think it's the absolute wrong decision. The Texans drives in the second half prior to the Chiefs going for it on 4th and 1 from their own 31-yard line. 3 plays -4 yards, 3 plays 2 yards, 3 plays 0 yards, 3 plays 0 yards, and then the big drive from the Texans in the second half before that, 6 plays 19 yards. In total, the Texans had 5 drives in the second half against the Chiefs prior to the Chiefs going for it, 4th and 1 at their own 31. They had 18 plays for 17 yards. You have to read the game.
How do you have 18 plays and only get 7 yards?
How good the Chiefs had
17.
been.
Oof.
That is how excellent the Chiefs' defense had been. They were awesome. They go for it on fourth down. They don't get it because that's the offense. 6 plays later, the Texans are in the end zone. They go up 17-10, and it wasn't officially over at that point in time. It was over. And the Chiefs then get the ball again. They go for it again on fourth down, this time from their own 41 on 4th and 4. They don't get it. Ball game.
Yep. And you said the pass catchers earlier. I mean, Kelsey and Rice let the team down. Mahomes would muster up some chances with his ability to just scramble and create time and space with a bad offensive line that was banged up. And what happens? Rice is dropping footballs. Now, the one I can't blame him on. I mean, that man got obliterated. I thought he was done after that hit by Petrie. But
the Texans' defense, by the way, full credit to them. They were amazing last time.
Yeah, if not for their god-awful offense, I'd believe more in that team in the playoffs. But, I mean, Kelsey and that drop towards the end, I mean, he had a lot of them in the game to where it was like every time he'd drop a pass, he'd look to the officials wanting a flag, and it's like, come on, man.
That last one was so symbolic of the season. The one that was intercepted by Alshire.
That felt like it was Kelsey's I'm done moment.
Dude, the thing that's crazy, he's been good this year.
Yeah.
Better than last year.
Yeah, bet
Kelsey
on him
has
to get
been
50 receiving yards.
I would say top 5 tight end in the NFL, top 5 to 7. And for his age, you couldn't have asked for anything more. He has been a saving grace for this season. He's been one of the very few relatively consistent pass catchers for the Chiefs. Now, he's had a couple of drops, whatever. He's 100 years old.
Whoa.
It is what it is.
He's not as old as it hurts.
Yeah, he's not that old.
He was not the reason that the Chiefs lost yesterday. They had a lot of them. Rasheed, I blame more than Kelsey. Just brutal, though. They're done. Like, I know mathematically they're still technically alive. They're done. This team, like, you're fine. You can write them off. That's cool. How many legitimate contenders do we have this year? Because I think it's almost time for a hard reset in the AFC after both the Ravens and the Chiefs lost yesterday. Those are 2 of your 3 preseason favorites in the AFC every year over the last 5 to 7.
Like, are you saying Super Bowl contenders?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Does the AFC have one is maybe a better way for me to ask this question.
I mean, if I was to pick one, it would be the Bills. I don't even feel like if you were to tell me that my life was on the line, I'm not betting them. I can see them losing. But, yeah, the Bills would be my only contender. I as much as I think the Patriots are good, I don't know if I could trust that team in the playoffs because I haven't seen it in the playoffs yet.
I agree.
And nobody else in the AFC, I'm not buying anybody selling the Baltimore Ravens to me that they're going to win the Super Bowl. And no, on the AFC South, I mean, we're talking Jaguars. I don't believe that. And I don't trust Bo Nix. So it would be the Bills in the AFC. I think there are more Super Bowl contenders in the NFC than there are in the AFC.
Can I give you, I'll throw a nominee in here, kind of the way that we do for the Circle of Trust. We'll do a Circle of Trust for Super Bowl contenders.
Who do you trust? Blah. Is that the open?
Can I throw the Texans in?
I'm not betting on that because
I don't think they can win enough games consistently.
No, I think they can, but they have to win every game defensively.
Let me start this way. Do you think the Texans can win the AFC?
Yes.
Can they get to the Super Bowl? Forget the Super Bowl for a second. Set that aside.
I don't
Can the
think they
Texans get to the Super Bowl?
I think they can. Because their defense is so good and Stroud, as you saw last night, can make just a couple big plays.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can make the big plays in the playoffs.
So who do you trust in the AFC?
Who do you trust? Bills. That'd be it.
See, I don't trust the Bills. I don't trust them.
You trust the Bills to make stops.
I trust the Bills. No, I don't trust them to make stops. I trust them to outscore their opponent.
Because I'm with you. I will put the Bills into this circle. I would add the Texans because I think they do one thing better than anybody else, and that's defense. I think their defense is even a little better than the Broncos. I think it's more well-rounded.
That offense, though, is what worries me.
The Broncos offense worries me. The Patriots defense worries me. The Jaguars, everything worries me. The Chargers just don't have any healthy players at this point. I just named 5 of your 7 playoff teams. The only 2 that I didn't mention the Steelers. Come on, get out of here. And then there's the Bills and the Texans. Those would be my 2 from the AFC, personally.
See, I would have 3 that I think can get to the Super Bowl. Now, when it's where it gets a little bit tougher for me.
You guys said Super Bowl contenders, and that's winning the Super Bowl.
I think if you could get there, you can win it.
And that's how I view it.
Because I think the NFC is so much better.
I watched the Eagles get to the Super Bowl with Nick Foles as their starting quarterback against Tom Brady, and they won the Super Bowl. So if you can get there in a 1-game sample size, I watched the Saints beat the Bucks this weekend. I watched the Titans beat the Browns this weekend.
You feel good about bringing those up?
I'm just saying.
You want to get punched in the Adam's apple today?
If I can see those on a Sunday, I could
fruit
see
chop you.
the Texans or the Bills beating, the Rams on a random Sunday. The Rams lost to the Panthers.
Hey,
I'm not going to
Look,
pretend as if these teams are unbeatable.
Yeah, but we're not going to do that because that one didn't matter to me.
See, the teams that I look at as like can get to the Super Bowl, that's why I view them as contenders. I think Denver's on that list. I know we don't trust the offense, but man, I've seen a great defense carry the corpse of Peyton Manning to a Super Bowl.
Still Peyton Manning.
That had a Hall of Famer on the defensive side too. Who's the Hall of Famer on the Broncos?
Yeah.
Who's Von Miller?
On the defensive side of the ball, they got it.
Yeah, they got some solid pieces.
They don't got Von
I think
Miller.
New England's in that conversation. I mean, Drake May, I get it, we haven't seen them, but Drake May's playing like an MVP. And then I would put the Texans on that list because of their defense and Stroud making big plays. I'm not putting Buffalo on there. I said this for college football going into the weekend. If I have to look at you and say you have to outscore your problems, all it takes is one interception to throw everything off, and now you're down by 14 instead of 7.
You're putting the Broncos on that list and not putting the Bills on that list.
I don't think the Bills are a Super Bowl contender this year.
That's crazy. If the Broncos are a Super Bowl contender, the Bills are a Super Bowl contender.
I will be shocked if the Buffalo Bills get to the Super Bowl.
I'll be shocked if the Broncos make it out of the first round.
Agreed on both
They've
sides.
got to buy.
Dang, I lost that bet. Again.
The thing that I struggle with on the Bills, they can't stop the run. And as you look around the AFC, it's a lot of teams that want to run the ball. And really, if you look around in the NFL, there's a lot of teams that want to run the ball.
But see, that's where I differ with you guys, because I'm not looking at this as if they need to get a stop. I'm looking at it as if Josh Allen has the ball in his hands with 2 minutes left to go, he's going to score.
Just to be clear, I have the Bills on my list. I had the Bills and the Texans.
No, I'm putting you in his category because you made a Saints comment earlier.
On the NFC, I think the Rams can get there. I think the Packers can get there. And I think that's
Come on,
it.
man. Packers almost lost to the Bears. No way.
I think those are my two teams.
You don't. I get the Seahawks. I was going to say Seahawks, but
If
the Darnold
Seattle was in
effect.
the AFC, they would be my front runner.
Did you say the
I think
Eagles?
They would get to the Super Bowl. No, I'm out.
I unfortunately am going to put the Eagles in there still until I see them in the playoffs, because they still, to me, are a team that can turn it on.
I'm out. Count me as being out on the Philadelphia Eagles sweepstakes.
What's even his body language today?
Yeah, I'm out on the Eagles as well. I'm still out on Green Bay. I'm sorry. I know they played well for a Sunday.
I don't care
they
about that team.
They are too inconsistent.
I'm in.
It is just.
Pull me back.
I hate
It is
that
just the
godforsaken
Rams
team.
for me.
They
The
won
Rams
4
are
in
the
a
only
row,
one.
ladies and gentlemen. Don't look at who they played.
Yeah.
And who was out when they played them.
He won't look at who they play. They played the Bears, the Lions. That's a good one. The Vikings and the Giants. They lost 10-7 to the Eagles, man.
It's cool, man.
You're out on the Eagles, and they lost 10-7.
That was a month ago. Things have changed.
They lost to the Panthers. 16-13.
Same.
Yours I can explain, not the Packers one.
Panthers, I can't explain them. They have some of the best wins of any team in the NFL this season.
Put them in, am I right?
They beat Dallas. They beat Green Bay on the road.
If this was a college football
And
playoff,
they
we'd
beat
be
the
here.
Rams.
They're James
I don't
Madison in
get
the
it.
college football playoffs right now.
All right, coming up in about 15 minutes, the NL Central apparently is the talk of the Major League Baseball winter meetings. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Questions and answers, 314-399-9646. That's coming up next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here in Missouri. Your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in your state. Now, you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action, powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. I was in on the action all weekend long. I'll be in the action tonight for Monday Night Football. I'm going Eagles -2.5 and under the 41.5. And guess what? They've also got a 100% profit boost going right now for Monday Night Football. So download that DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Tanner as new Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code Tanner. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms, responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Three one four 399 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get them in right now on the Air Comfort Service text line. From the 636, guys with Burrow, Lamar, and Mahomes all expected to miss the playoffs this year, it's got to be Josh Allen's year, right? If he doesn't win it this year, is he ever going to?
No.
You would think so. You'd think this would be his year.
I don't think he ever wins it. This is the year. It's probably why I'm so bullish on Buffalo, is because of that. You don't have any of the competition you typically do in the AFC.
I'm not willing to go that far just because I saw Drew Brees figure out ways to win. It took a really long time for Peyton Manning to get his. Most quarterbacks wait. It doesn't come as early as it did for Tom Brady or Big Ben, right? Like, these guys a lot of the time do not get it at the very beginning of their respective careers. So I think we have lost sight of that a bit in the NFL and the way that we discuss these things because Brady got so many of them and Mahomes has already had so many of them. If he doesn't get it this year, I still think he could get one.
Yeah.
But it should be his year.
I agree with that. I don't think it's like if he doesn't get it this year, he's never getting it because you're right. Sometimes it takes a while. And we seem to forget this about football, even though quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. You just got to have the team around you. And that's where I don't think Josh has it this year. And I saw last year, I know they got to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs had their flaws last year with Patrick Mahomes. So, and who knows how long they could be. Maybe this is just a one-off for the Chiefs. Maybe they miss the playoffs for the next 2 or 3 years because they don't have the roster around Mahomes. So I don't think it's his year this year, but that doesn't mean I don't think he's going to get one.
But my question to that would be, are they ever going to have the team around Josh Allen? Because doesn't he get more and more expensive as you move on?
Yeah, I mean, relative to the cap, though, it's kind of similar. So, okay. From the 314, how would you guys grade Mayu's performance since he got the call back up? Alex, what would you grade him as?
I'd give it a B-, C+. I mean, it's not like he's overwhelming. I think he's been much better and more confident in the offensive zone, which has been great. He's had some moments in the defensive zone that even Jim Montgomery acknowledged his game has slipped, but it's nowhere near how bad he was early on. I think now you're just in that development stage where he's got confidence. He knows he can play. They're keeping him in the lineup, and you have your slip-ups.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line from the 618. If I set the over-under at 1.5 trades for the Cardinals this week, what would you take? I'd probably go under for this week.
I don't think it's going to happen this week. I think you get one maybe.
I think if you set up till Christmas, I'd take the over. Because I think you're going to see conversations start at the winter meetings, which start today, and then it typically takes till the end of the week or into next week where things boil over.
I'd say more of them happen post December 31st.
314-399-9646. Guys, do you think Lamar is still hurt? He doesn't look like himself since that hamstring injury.
Yeah, and they have to keep running him out there because they feel like they're still in it.
Yeah.
At some point, when I don't know if they're even mathematically eliminated yet, but at some point you just
technically alive.
At some point you just got to say, all right, enough of this. Let's just not worry about him anymore and focus on next year.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. Guys, great game yesterday between the Packers and the Bears. You spent about 25 minutes talking about the Chiefs instead. What did you think of the Bears and Packers game? That was awesome.
Great game, my you-know-what.
I thought it was a great game for both sides. It told me a lot about the Bears. I think a lot of people had questions about whether or not the Bears were a legit contender, and by losing that game, they went from the number 1 seed in the NFC to the number 7 seed in the NFC, which speaks to how deep this conference is. I think they are a really good football team. I don't think they're a championship contender just yet, and that is not to diminish what they have accomplished, but I think they've still got some steps left to take, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But, man, Caleb Williams is legit. I think he's a really good quarterback, and he's taken another step in his development, and they have the right coach. That's a nice first step toward contention for years to come.
We did the question last week. Who's the team? At the time, it was who's the team that's out of the playoffs? It could be the Commanders of last year, where they get to the NFC Championship game. Bears didn't fall in based on the caveat we had there. I could see them being that team, though, this year. Watching them play this weekend against the Packers, I was like, okay, you probably aren't getting to the Super Bowl because I don't think they can beat the Rams. But they could be the team that gets to see the Rams in the NFC Championship game because they are able to run the football. Williams can make a couple of plays, and their defense is just good enough.
All right, we got this last one here from the 314. BK, we need to talk about Mizzou. I don't want to.
M-I-Z!
Football's over, man. The bowl game don't matter.
He's a Kansas fan anyways. We saw him in the Jayhawks paint.
Oh, you're talking about your basketball team. That woof.
I don't like them.
Me neither.
I don't think Gates likes them.
They're not a good team. They have one thing they do well, and that's Mark Mitchell go be great. Other than that, they do nothing. I like Ant Robinson. I think he's going to be an interesting NBA prospect as like a early second-round pick, late first-round pick, because he's a good defender. He's got some decent size for a point guard. Like, he does some things well, but he is not somebody you want as your best player because he's not a go-get-buckets kind of a point guard. Like, Kansas has always had that guy, where whether it's Frank Mason or Aaron, like for the last 20 years, Kansas has had a point guard that goes and gets his buckets. Mizzou kind of needed Ant to take that step this year if they were going to be the contender they wanted to be. And not only has he not taken that next step, he's almost taken a step back. as the go-to guy. So I don't like this team. I don't think they're making it to the tournament. I think SLU is better than Mizzou this year.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, other than Mark Mitchell, this team just doesn't have offense.
And they're not good enough defensively to not be a team that can't score.
They're just not fun. They're not a fun watch. It's really hard to watch them most nights.
Illinois won, though, boys. They took down Tennessee,
Big win
and
for
they
them.
looked good doing it.
It's going to hurt when Mizzou beats them in bragging rights.
Not going to happen. Coming up in about 15 minutes, NFL quick hitters. But next, the NL Central is the talk of the winter meetings. Are we going to see some big moves for these teams? There's at least some buzz about it. We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. So the NL Central seems to be the talk of the early period at the winter meetings, Alex. The Pirates, according to reports, have made an offer to Kyle Schwarber of at least 4 years and more than $100 million. All right,
they're trying.
Atta baby buckos. Anybody think that they're going to be in contention to actually get his services?
No, but, at least they're trying to make it look like Paul Skeens they're trying to keep, but he'll be gone in a couple of years.
The Cubs have been connected to Alex Bregman. All right, atta baby Cubbies.
I'm not going to clap. I'm not going to clap that one.
Anybody believe that they're going to sign Alex Bregman?
No.
Maybe. 30% chance.
Cool. The Reds have also been interested, according to reports, in Kyle Schwarber.
This one I'll clap.
Hey!
That one I'll clap. That would be cool.
Anybody believe they will sign?
Did you just say Hardy Har?
Anybody believe they will sign Kyle Schwarber?
Oh, I think this one's possible.
Oh, really? Okay.
Since he's from Cincinnati.
This would be the most possible of all of them.
Yeah, I do not.
It's why I'm giving them a chance.
I got that vibe, actually.
I don't think it's going to
Anybody
happen.
believe in Zach Gallen going to the Cubs? Like Bobby Boogie?
That one I can buy.
That one
I can buy.
Okay.
Also, how about the Cardinals? Who are they in on?
Everybody is willing to trade for their players.
Yeah, so technically everybody. Yeah.
What do you guys find to be most interesting this week at the winter meetings? Because the NL Central appears to be at the heart of basically everything, which is strange, and it's a different way to go about it this week. I don't know how much is actually going to happen in this division, but they're at least connected with everything. What do you find to be the most interesting topic this week at the winter meetings, though?
Honestly, other than the Cardinals in this trade conversation, because that's probably the most interesting, it would probably be the NL Central, because I got to be 100% honest, guys. Like, most of the storylines in this one doesn't feel as entertaining as years past. And maybe it's because of names that we haven't heard so much, but like the big free agents, there's a handful of teams they're probably going to sign with. Like, even Kyle Tucker sounds like the steam is really headed towards Toronto. And then now with the Schwarber, that's your next big one. Alex Bregman, the pitching market doesn't seem that appealing because Dylan Cease already signed. I think it would be the NL Central, and honestly, the dealings that will take place, whether it's them signing these players, what Milwaukee would do, and then what the Cardinals are going to do. Because frankly, I think the Cardinals are kind of the blueprint or the landscape for a lot of teams right now in Major League Baseball because of the pieces that the Cardinals could be potentially trading away.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what the trade market ends up becoming. And that's
got that as one of mine. The top starting pitchers, are they actually going to get dealt?
Yeah, and that's the names like Scooble that you're looking at, Freddie Peralta. Another name that I would throw in there, because I think there's going to be the surprise of the winter meetings potentially, is like Ketel Marte, where there's a whole bunch of buzz that there's teams interested, yet the Diamondbacks are pushing back that they're not making him available. I'm intrigued to see what the market ends up being. I wonder if this is on your list, because I think this is maybe the most substantial one to the St. Louis Cardinals. Do we start to see the corner infield markets develop? Because if they're going to move Arenado, they've got to wait for Bregman to go. They've got to wait for those guys that have been posted from Japan who have to sign by, I think it's the 20th and 21st. They're waiting on this corner market to develop on the infield before they can potentially make a move of Arenado or potentially make a move of Wilson Contreras. Donovan, I expect to be dealt, whether it's at the winter meetings or in the week or two afterwards. I expect that to happen. But their corner infielders on the Cardinals roster, they need to wait for this market to develop. So I'm fascinated to see if anything comes of that at the winter meetings.
Yeah, my top three storylines to follow. One, Cardinals, obviously. Just what are they going to trade? Two, top starting pitching options. Who actually ends up getting dealt?
And three, who are the Cardinals going to sign?
Three.
That one's not happening.
It's three teams that I think are really interesting in terms of what they do, and I think they're all kind of in similar markets. The Phillies, the Mets, and the Blue Jays. What do they end up with? Are we going to see Kyle Tucker, Kyle Schwarber, Pete Alonso, Bo Bichette, Ketel Marte? Are we going to see at least three of them sign with those three teams? Because it kind of feels that way right now. I feel like at least three of those guys will sign with those teams, but there's no guarantee of that. And if they don't, what does that mean for them? Where do they pivot? What do they decide to go do instead? So those three teams, they have obviously the payroll flexibility to go make big moves, and they have teams that are on the cusp of doing something really special. I mean, the Blue Jays seem to be all in. They appear to be like, all right, we saw that we have a very good team. We are building around Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who took that next step into stardom last year. We hope that he can sustain that. Now let's continue adding the pieces. They got Dylan Cease. They've shown interest, as Alex mentioned, in Kyle Tucker. Is that the move? Is the move maybe going and getting somebody else? I don't know, but they're a team that I definitely have my eyes on.
That's Kyle Tucker is kind of the big one, and I think it's tied because I'm just under the belief he's going to sign with the Toronto Blue Jays for how aggressive they've seemingly been on him. And frankly, I guess that's the intrigue for me is who's the next juggernaut. Because it's always the Dodgers, and I think it's always going to be the Dodgers. But in the years past, it's been the Phillies. Does that take a step backwards if they don't bring back Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto? Not sure about. And they're moving on from Castellanos. Doesn't seem like it's the Padres as they're trying to sell off as many pieces as possible. Do the Toronto Blue Jays become that new juggernaut in baseball? And then also the Boston Red Sox tied into this, into the trade conversation you're talking about, them being involved on trying to get Schwarber, trying to trade for Ketel Marte, and then all of these pieces that they're reportedly trying to trade out. Like, I'm kind of curious who this next juggernaut's going to be in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I think it's the Blue Jays based on all the reports that PK had mentioned, but I don't know because they are the ones that want to spend. Phillies are the team that is intriguing because Alec Bohm, they seem to be wanting to upgrade at third base as well. That's why I brought up the third base market.
I'm still in on him, by the way. If the Cardinals want to trade for Alec Bohm, I'm good with it.
I mean, I would be willing to do it as well. I think he makes sense for them as they're in this kind of rebuild.
I think you got a lot of infielders already, though. But if you get him, maybe you can move out
Arenado. If you're trading Nolan Arenado, you potentially sell low even on a guy like Nolan Gorman.
That's who I was going to say. If you can get Bohm, then you can move on from another piece in Gorman and try and get more asset pieces to your system.
And I'm not saying Bohm's going to be a part of your long-term core, but I would give him 150 games next year. Yeah. He can be my starting third baseman every day, and then I'll flip him at the deadline if I need to.
Exactly. And that's why he's intriguing to me, is because he would be a flip candidate. So it'll be interesting to see what the Phillies do, because Dombrowski's not going to just sit on his hands. He's going to be aggressive, as we know. Also, how about like a changing of the guard with like the Padres? There's reports today that the Padres are at least listening on offers for Nick Pivetta, their starter, Jake Cronenworth, who I assumed was going to be their first baseman. Apparently not.
They're shipping out everybody.
I find them to be fascinating just because they're the team that over the last 7 years, I would say, have been ultra aggressive, and now they don't have money to spend, and it sounds like they're going to be selling off, trying to find money.
I've got a potential deal for you.
Why would they do that?
Nick Pivetta for Wilson Contreras. Who says no?
I think they would do that. I think both teams would do that. I think. I don't know what our payroll's supposed to be, so it's the only reason I hesitate.
I'm not saying you're building around Pivetta.
Part of me,
flip him at the deadline.
Yeah, I guess I was saying, because part of me would just rather get a younger piece for your team. But if I'm going to flip Pivetta, have somebody that's good for now, and then go get more pieces because pitchers are more desirable at the trade deadline.
Padres need a thumper for their lineup.
Yeah, I'd
somebody
be in on
to play
it.
first base.
Yeah.
He fits in with a lot of their like personality of their team, another fiery personality.
Rather Tatis Jr.
Yeah, well, there was a report today that they're probably not going to.
Wilson for Tatis Jr. Who says no?
Yeah, San Diego.
The Cardinals.
Cardinals obviously would say no.
That's too much money.
I like Nick Pivetta. I've always really liked him. And by the way, he has a history with Chaim Bloom. Chaim traded for him. It was one of his first moves with the Boston Red Sox was trading and acquiring Nick Pivetta for them. So there's a history there. He's making $20 million this year. There's an opt-out after the season. So, again, this is not something where I'm trading for Nick Pivetta. He's going to be here for the next 5 years and just write his name in pen at the front of the Cardinals rotation. I don't feel that way about him. But if you've got the money, and I think they do, flexibility-wise at least, and you want to have something that's a better asset for you by the time that you get to the trade deadline, somebody like a Nick Pivetta would be certainly in demand as we get closer to the deadlines, assuming that he has a good season. You could make the money work as well. That would be a really interesting one to me. I would find him to be an intriguing trade candidate for the Cardinals.
Because you are a pitcher-friendly park, he makes sense for you. Because we were talking about this off air. Why did Pivetta have weird numbers in Boston? Because it's a hitter's ballpark. And he's a guy that needs to be in a pitcher-friendly environment. Why do you have so much success? I think it's because his stuff does play, but it's also because he was in San Diego where hitters do not hit well at that ballpark. So I think he would make a ton of sense for him. I don't know if that's the kind of move that the Cardinals are looking at necessarily when they look to trade Contreras, but I would be in on it.
I like him. I like the idea of acquiring somebody like Pivetta, whether it's him specifically or somebody in a similar position where a team's got a surplus of pitching talent and they need a bopper in the middle of their order and it's cash neutral or something similar to that. I think it makes some sense for both sides.
And we've talked about when they go to the market to sign somebody, it's buying a prospect. It's kind of weird to say, but this would be like kind of like buying of a prospect of sorts. Because you're right, he's probably not here long term. At the deadline, Pavetta, as long as he pitches well, would get you a better return than like you trying to flip a Dustin May or a Tyler Malley, the project piece that you end up taking
I'm also willing to take on one of those guys.
Sure.
Trade for Pavetta, add one of those guys. Hey, Andre Palante, sorry, there's no guarantees that you're going to be a starter for us next year. Or you use him effectively as a left-handed reliever. You flip JoJo Romero for somebody. You put now Palante is in that role that Steven Matz had at the beginning of last year. He can make a few spot starts at the beginning of the year when you need him to. But otherwise, he's my sixth starter / swingman. He's going to the bullpen to start out the season. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And Kyle Leahy, you're competing for a spot. No guarantee that you get it, but you can compete for the spot going into opening day. I'd like to see
Stop trying to make this roster competitive, man. Just put Palante and Leahy in the rotation.
All of this is about getting assets at the deadline. None of that was to like win the division.
It worries me to get a pitcher and use him as an asset at the deadline because you got to hope he stays healthy at the deadline.
Yeah, but if he doesn't, then so be it. You're in the same place that you were anyways. At least in this scenario, you have the upside to get something at the deadline. What you have currently, you have no upside.
But what did you miss out on getting trading Contreras for younger pieces now?
Probably a lottery ticket, which
there's not going to be a significant prospect that comes back in return for Contreras.
Unless you eat like
money.
all of the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're in the eating money business right now. If you're the Cardinals, we've already eaten Gray, we're eating Arenado. Let's go.
Coming up in 10 minutes, Buch and Holloway might be finding their game at the exact right time. We'll get into that in a little bit. NFL Quick Hitters next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T1 on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. We spent most of our 11:30 segment rather talking about the Chiefs. Don't have to get into them too much here. If you want to get our full thoughts on them, check it out, the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app. It's all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
Let's talk a little bit about the Colts, though. Woo-hoo-hoo. Remember that Sauce Gardner trade?
Yeah. Still not going to back down from what I said. I loved the trade. Sucks how that one goes if you're a Colts fan.
I respect the aggressiveness. I said it at the time. I will reiterate it today. It was doubling down on Daniel Jones. Now, you didn't know he was going to tear his Achilles at the time.
Yeah.
You probably could have seen, though, that he wasn't going to be an MVP candidate all season long. And both things happened. They have now gone 1-4 in their last 5 games. The one win was in overtime against the Atlanta Falcons. Daniel Jones popped his Achilles yesterday. Their schedule coming up, Alex. Oh, boy. At Seattle, home against San Fran, home against the Jags, at the Texans. I would set the over-under on wins the rest of the way at 0.5.
And I'd take the under.
And I probably would take the under as well. That means they're probably going to finish 8-9 on the season. Is it over for our Indiana Jones?
It is. And it sucks. I mean, he started to perform poorly down the stretch anyway, but still, man, I feel awful for that team and that fan base because the one thing I'd want as a fan is my team to be aggressive and go after it, and they did. Now, you mortgaged your future a little bit. Who knows what this is going to look like next year? You pretty much have to bring back Daniel Jones, but with an Achilles injury, I mean, you don't know what he's going to look like after this injury. So,
especially because athleticism is such a big part of his game.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I would imagine this is going to carry over probably to the beginning of the season next year. So,
and they're locked in. Like, they have to bring him back next season.
Because Anthony Richardson is a nightmare in itself, and there's nothing else out there via trade, and you're not going to get anything via draft. So,
because you don't have your first-round pick the next 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I feel awful because, again, like, as a fan base, I want my team to do what the Colts did. But, yeah, I don't see them winning, and I don't see them making the playoffs, and God knows what it's going to look like.
Yeah, they're done.
Get that smirk off your face, T-Bone.
Why?
They tried.
I know they tried. I respect what they did. Like, I mean, they tried to do what the Rams did, right? Except they had Daniel Jones and not Matthew Stafford when they did it. So, again, I agree with what you're saying.
Big difference, by the way.
A little bit, yeah.
Future Hall of Famer versus a guy that's never been good in his NFL career.
Whoa. He won a
was
playoff
good this year.
Yeah,
he won a playoff
do you remember
game.
who we played against in that playoff
Kirk
game?
Cousins. I think it's more playoff wins than Kirk Cousins, no?
Exactly.
You can't be that brutal against the guy. He tried.
Yeah. Seriously.
Damn, BK.
They're
Your
done.
team stinks too.
100%.
Speaking of
Absolutely. Yeah, Chiefs as of today would be picking 14th, and that's going to go probably down before
They should probably draft a quarterback.
Amen.
As you look right now at the AFC's playoff picture, Broncos and Patriots have the top 2 seeds in the AFC.
God.
I'm going to go through these real quick so that way we can project who we think gets the number 1 seed. There's really nobody else even in contention. Everybody else is at least 2 games back of the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. Patriots the rest of the way. Buffalo, at the Baltimore Ravens, at the Jets, home against the Dolphins. Those are their 4 games remaining on their schedule. The Broncos' remaining schedule, 4 games as well. I think it's a little tougher. Home against the Packers, home against the Jags, on the road at Kansas City, and then they finish out their schedule home against the Chargers. Who do you think ends up with the 1 seed in the AFC?
I think it's the Patriots.
I do too.
You say harder for the Broncos, and I don't think the Chiefs game is hard. I don't think the Chargers game is hard. Really, it comes down to the Packers and the Jags. And that's a 50-50 toss-up in both of those, in my opinion, because I don't think one side is significantly better than the other. But you listing off what the Patriots is, I mean, it's just hard for me to deny what the Patriots have done. And when you've got Drake May is playing like the best quarterback right now in football.
I would say the Ravens at this point have become a gimme. The Jets are a gimme. And the Dolphins, they're not a gimme, but it's at home. The Patriots should win that game. Whenever they go down to Miami, weird stuff happens over the last 15 years. But at home against Miami, they should win that. That's 3-1 if you're including the loss against the Bills. And I'm not necessarily inclined to believe that's a guaranteed loss either. They're coming off of a bye this week before they play that game. It's a really late bye this year for New England. I would side on that direction. T-Bone, do you have a lean?
I lean Broncos because I think both sides go 3-1 and the Broncos hold the tiebreaker.
There you go.
And It comes down to that. I think it comes down to that Bills game. If the Patriots win that football game, they probably win out, and then they get the one. But I'm leaning towards they lose that one. So I like the Denver Broncos. That schedule was a little bit tougher that you read off. Their defense is so good that, like you mentioned, the Jags. Trevor Lawrence going to look awful in that football game.
Do we need to keep a light on for the Dolphins as a potential playoff team?
Shut it. No.
I'm good.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not
Who
kidding.
do you guys think is getting that last spot in the AFC? Because we've all said we think that the Chiefs are done. They're at 6-7 right now. There's like a 15% chance that they can get in. But the teams that are battling it out for the last spot right now include the last two spots in the AFC. Chargers at 8-4, and then Texans and Colts at 8-5, Ravens, Chiefs, and Dolphins at 6-7. And I don't need to bring up the Bengals or anybody else. They're all done.
I would probably put the Dolphins at the bottom of that list that you just gave. I think I would say the Chargers are probably one of them. The Texans are the other. And then I know we're done on the Ravens. I think there's still a chance for the Ravens to at least keep it competitive. And we were just talking in the commercial break. You could say the Chiefs are dead, but if you think the Chiefs can beat the Broncos, that's really what this comes down to.
The hardest part of the Chiefs making it to the playoffs is their own ability to win football games.
But I do think
everything else is there. Like the Chargers could lose out, and I don't think it would be surprising to anybody. They've got Philly, KC, Dallas, Houston, and Denver the rest of the way. That's five. It's four potential playoff teams, and then Kansas City on the road.
Yeah.
And they're beat up.
I'd say that's more likely than the Dolphins making the playoffs.
I would agree with that. I think it's just I think you're looking at the playoff field right now. I don't think there's any change that is coming outside maybe seeding, because I don't even think Baltimore's now catching Pittsburgh. I don't know why I would have to have belief in them getting things turned around when they looked like a shell of themselves, like they have just like the Chiefs for most of the season.
The Steelers' schedules: Dolphins, Browns, Ravens again, and then the Lions.
Yeah, I'm good. I think they're getting in.
Oh God, miserable watching that guy play.
Should we be taking the Jags seriously as a threat in the AFC? They won yesterday 36-19. Now, they went up against a banged-up Colts team and Riley Leonard in that game. Riley Leonard, by the way, looked mostly okay, all things considered.
Oh, good. They got their quarterback then.
But the Jags have won 5 of their last 6 games. Their one loss was on the road at Houston. They did put up 29 points against that defense that we saw last night was excellent. Should we be taking the Jags more seriously, guys? Or are they just mediocre?
Should we be taking them more seriously? Yes, because of the playoff field, but I think when push comes to shove, they're not the team that can get that win. I think that Houston Texans game is more a better picture of who the Jaguars are, because you just list, I mean, the Chargers, the Cardinals, the Titans, the Colts that lost Daniel Jones. Like, it's not like they went up against a gauntlet and went out there and survived like what the Texans have done to put themselves into the playoff picture. So I think they're a team that could win a game. I don't think they're a team that could make it to the Super Bowl.
I think they're interesting.
I hate watching them.
I do too.
You just hate Trevor Lawrence.
I was going to say, here's my one word for why they can't win in the playoffs. Quarterback.
Agreed.
He's not good enough to get them there. He's a
Who's better, Stroud or Lawrence?
Stroud.
I think so,
I don't think
too.
it's close.
And I think the defense gives him so much more margin for error.
Yeah.
And that's where it really gets tough for me with the Jaguar side of things. But, man, they're probably going to finish with 12 wins this year. I mean, they're scheduled. The Jets, the Colts, and the Titans are 3 of their 4 games coming up. The other one is on the road at Denver. If they were to win that one, they could finish with a 13-4 record. I mean, at a certain point in time, I have to take them kind of seriously, right?
I'll believe it when they go out there and can perform in the playoffs.
I don't know if you have to take them seriously, right? Like, Minnesota was, 13-4 last year? Did we ever take them seriously? No. I'm going to watch them get killed.
But I thought the NFC was better than what the AFC is this year.
But, like, I think it just comes down to your quarterback. Like, I think they, right now, based on how this field lays out, yes, I would take them over the Chargers.
All right, last thing here. Eagles play tonight against the Chargers. You guys have a feel for this game?
Yeah, it's going to be the Eagles.
Okay.
I'm done with the Chargers, man. Like, Justin Herbert had surgery this past week, and we're going to act like he's fine. He has no protection. I think they're getting Hampton back. Is that correct?
That's the expectation. I don't know how much he's going to play, but he's apparently designated to return tonight.
Their defense isn't as elite as it's been in the past. I don't know. This team, to me, screams like they don't win another game this year.
I think Eagles win. I think they cover. I think it's 2.5 right now, so spread. I love the under in this game because I don't think the Eagles are scoring a ton of points. We can talk about how bad the Chargers defense you think it is. I'll point to the Eagles offense and go
41.5.
and I'm going under.
And they're without.
I think this is like a 17-10 football.
And they're
I'll take
without
the over.
Jalen Carter too, right? If I'm mistaken, or if I'm not mistaken, he's out with like two shoulder
I
injuries.
just don't expect the Eagles offense to put up a ton of points in this game, and I don't expect the Chargers to do it
23 to
either.
20 though gets you to the over.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting
that's
to that
a
point.
big game. Okay, that's fair.
Give me the under.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we're going to dive into the junk drawer. But next, Buch and Holloway seem to be finding their game as the exact right time for them to do so. We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends out at Ted Drew's. The holiday season is here, and it's time for you to get out to Ted Drew's famous frozen custard off of Chippewa. To one, get that frozen custard for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for all those holiday parties. And two, get your Christmas tree if you haven't done so yet, because that lot is open. I love this time of the year. It's a tradition that I've been doing since I was young, going out there, walking through the parking lot, and just looking at all the Christmas tree options that they have, because Ted Drew's has a beautiful selection of premium trees. They've got pine and fir trees, including customer favorites like the Fraser fir and Scotch pine. Also, lush holiday greenery that has handmade wreaths, garland, mistletoe, and so much more. So it's there, and it's while supplies last, so you don't want to wait too much longer. Make sure you get out there and get the Christmas tree while the selections are at their best. They'll help you load them up onto the car and get it home for you for the holiday season. Plus, like I mentioned, buy the frozen custard in bulk, bring it home, stuff it in the freezer, and have it for you for all the holiday parties that are coming up. And you can check out their gift shop. Get that last-minute holiday shopping done with Ted Drew's apparel, Ted Drew's gift cards, and so much more. Ted Drew's off of Chippewa. Go check them out this holiday season, where tradition tastes great and the holidays feel right at home.
Tanner Hendrickson here with the Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues took down the Canadians last night. They'll be back in action tomorrow night when they host the Boston Bruins. Well, pregame coverage tomorrow starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Ferrario. Then puck drop at 7 o'clock with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, Monday Night Football for you as the Chargers take on the Eagles. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock with kickoff at 7:15. The Sports Center update is drawn by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Dobson beat Buchnevich to the puck, but the Blues get it back in front to Buchnevich. They score! 2 goals for the Blues in 1 minute and 5 seconds of the second period. Buchnevich has scored 3-2 St. Louis.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, that's what it sounded like over the weekend right here on 101 ESPN as the Blues get a couple of victories. If they win tomorrow, Alex.
That's what they call a win streak, Brandon.
3 in a row. Hasn't happened yet.
But
It
boys,
has
it's
happened before. Alex, it seems as though we are seeing a better version of both Pavel Buchnevich and Dylan Holloway. Both seem to be finding their games. We talked a lot this season about how many struggles Buch had been having at 5-on-5. Well, over the last 2 weeks, his 3 goals and 7 points in 9 games, only one of those 7 came on the power play, so he's been a 5-on-5 producer, finally. Meanwhile, Dylan Holloway, 6 goals and 11 points in his last 15 games, but it goes beyond just the point production. He's now driving offense for the Blues again, the way that he did a year ago. He seems like he's more back to the version of January and beyond Dylan Holloway.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, that he's driving offense, because in the last 9 games, he's got 8 points, but he's also got 23 shots on goal and 42 shot attempts.
He's impacting the game.
Yes, he's doing what Broberg's doing every time he touches the puck.
It couldn't come at a better time because it seems as though Jordan Kyrou is going to be week to week. They needed somebody to raise their game and give them some kind of a scoring punch. What does this mean for the Blues, Alex?
I mean, it means that they can put themselves back into hockey games, into the conversation of can they be a playoff team. Like, the one thing we complained about this entire year is that you don't have guys who are killers. You don't have guys who can finish plays. Well, I'm not going to put Buchnevich into that category, but at least he's starting to score more. Dylan Holloway I can put into the killer mentality right now. I mean, not only is he driving offense, but he's physical. He's aggressive. He's generating space the same way that Jake Neighbors does, but he's got the offensive talent to actually, that sounds like a shot at Jake Neighbors. He's got the ability to make defensemen look bad on the ice. Now, I think Jake Neighbors does it in a specific way in terms of that net front presence. But last night, for example, Dylan Holloway outpaces 2 defensemen on Montreal to get to a loose puck and create a 2-on-1 with Braden Shen. So what it means is now a team that has been lacking offense, now you've got 2 lines that at least you can trust. The problem for the Blues is that's all you've got. Because beyond those 2 lines, which in my opinion I think should be moving forward, Thomas, Buchnevich, and Neighbors, and then I think they should go Holloway with Shen in the middle and Pius Suter on the wing. But what that does is now you eliminate 2 other lines, because now you're playing Matt Luff and Kaskamaki in the bottom 6 until Toropchenko comes back. You've got Bukestad, you've got Sundqvist, you've got Matthew Joseph. You're top heavy. You don't have the depth in terms of offense without Kyrou and without Snuggerud. But man, if you've got Holloway, who's on a point per game pace, Buchnevich, who's on a point per game pace, and both are shooting the puck a lot more, you're going to create more havoc in the offensive zone.
Can I give you my concern? Because right now the Blues have won 2 in a row. They look better with their top 6. If you look at the way that they won on Saturday in particular, to be able to overcome all of the penalties that they had, the penalty kill, which has been great lately, Joel Hofer, the performance that he put out there, like, I was very impressed by the Blues' ability to get wins over the weekend. They've failed to rise to the occasion so many times, and they did that over the weekend. So I'm giving them credit for that. I want to say that on the front end before I say what I'm about to. The Blues were outchanced 44-24 over the weekend at 5-on-5. That's eliminating all of the penalty stuff that we talked about. High danger chances were 19-14 in favor of the opposition. The offense, while you're getting the goal production, is still flimsy at best when you look at shots, chances, etc. And despite all of that, The Blues scored their opponents over the weekend 5-2 at 5-on-5. Nothing about that feels sustainable. Mm-hmm. Is that a warning sign of what could be to come?
It could be, yes, because to me, you can't win 12 in a row playing that style. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say you can't. You can. It's going to be very difficult and taxing on the players, and you're probably going to suffer from more injuries playing that way. I will say this. In those 2 games where they were outchanced, it got ugly towards the end of the game because the Blues were holding on for dear life, and of course that's when teams get desperate. The Ottawa Senators game, a team that had a ton of power play opportunities at even strength, the Blues gave up 3 high-danger scoring chances in the first 2 periods. They gave up a total of 10 scoring chances in the first 2 periods. The problem is in the third, they gave up 10 total at 5-on-5 and then 5 high-danger chances.
That wasn't the case against Canadians. Canadians, they skewed in favor.
Canadians, they skated circles around the Blues in the first period, which is why it was so impressive how they played. But like the second period, they got a little bit better. They still got outchanced.
10-4 and 4-2 on high danger.
The third period was the part that I think I was probably the most impressed with in that Montreal game, and Montreal had that push late. So I'm agreeing with what you're saying. It's just like there's certain areas in the game and it's like, wow, that was more impressive than what it's been in the past. But no, you can't. The offense to me is I'm going to be curious what it looks like against Boston and then Nashville with more games to play. Because all 6 of those goals that they scored, they were all in the area that Jim Montgomery has been clamoring for this team to go to. Jake Neighbors gets 2 against Ottawa from where? Standing on the doorstep. Pavel Buchnevich, where's he score? Right in front of the blue paint. Holloway and Shen create 2-on-1s, but it's right in front of the net. That's the offense they got to play if they want to win hockey games. Defensively, I think they've been better. I think goaltending is going to make the saves, but yeah, I mean, being outchanced and being outshot as much as they have been is concerning, but they play a different brand of hockey when they're not chasing games, and that's what they weren't doing a lot this weekend.
It's been better, and that's all I was asking for. Just be better, give yourself a chance. They're now 2 points out of a playoff spot, which seems crazy to me, but it is reflective of what the Western Conference has been. The Western Conference could have completely put the Blues behind them. Mm-hmm. They failed to do so. And now because of that, the Blues still have a fighting chance. They'll get back in action tomorrow night against, once again, the Boston Bruins. I feel like we've seen them a lot lately. Alex will have pregame coverage starting for that one tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Puck drop on your home of the Blues, 101 ESPN, tomorrow at 7. Coming up next, we're going to dive into the junk drawer here on BK and Ferrario. Hey, it's BK, and it is time to unlock your inner champion. The place to do so is with Victory Men's Health. Check them out today. You can see all that they have to offer on their website at victorymenshealth.com. That's also going to be the place where you can book that first appointment. I will tell you more about that here in just a moment. It's an incredibly easy process. But at Victory Men's Health, they're going to unlock the best version of yourself. And doing so, they can help you out with erectile dysfunction, weight loss goals that you're trying to meet, low testosterone symptoms. They can check where your levels are at, and then they can make sure that they give you the best plan that's individualized for you at Victory Men's Health. They also have vitamin infusion programs. They have a supplement shop, red light therapy, cardiovascular testing. I go in there for micronutrient labs. I'm actually planning to do so here pretty soon to find out, all right, this is where I was at 6 months ago, a year ago. Where am I at today? They can redo that process for you and find out the updated version of your inner champion. They can do that for me. They can do it for you as well. Check them out today. Book that first appointment online at victorymenshealth.com. That's victorymenshealth.com. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, so you're working Christmas Eve?
Yeah. I made Mike Ryder mad. Sorry, Mike.
Put in your request,
I'm going to send in the request.
You know how this works.
I got 2 weeks notice and it's on Wednesday. I flubbed up.
Me and T-Bone
Randy,
put
I'm
this
not
in a couple
coming in
of
here.
weeks ago.
I flubbed up. I looked at Mike and I said, Mike, would you like me to come in and just read a night before Christmas and do Christmas Eve drafts?
I'm not coming in and doing that again.
I will put on a special show of BK and Ferrario with dad puns all the way through. And then Mike said, no, just put your request in. And I said, yes, sir. I'm going to do it as soon as we hit this commercial break.
All right, well, you better hurry on that. I forgot to put in my timesheet this weekend.
Oh, that's worse. I do that every 2 weeks.
Noob alert.
I got a text yesterday in the morning from our big boss, Tommy. He sent it to me, to Tim McKernan, and I think there was one other person on there. I think maybe
bring
Marshy.
everybody else under the bus. Wow.
Want to make
ladies
sure
and
everybody
gentlemen,
knows it wasn't just
bring
me.
everybody else in this
Look,
text
ladies and
thread.
gentlemen, I just
me,
need
Marshy, and Tim
wow.
McKernan. Oh, I forgot to send in our timesheets.
burn it down. Look, ladies
I
and
think they
gentlemen.
requested off, though.
Oh, well, that's true. What I'm here to say is if you're an employee of a company, read the guidelines of when you're supposed to ask off for days that you're supposed to work and send in your notice so your higher-ups don't have to ask you if you're taking off.
All right, Alex, I'm going to read you 2 titles of a story. You tell me which one interests you more, okay, for the junk drawer today.
All right.
Option number 1. Woman in disbelief as she discovers her entire driveway has been stolen.
You don't even have
Option
to read
number
the
2,
next one.
Police recover a swallowed Fabergé pendant after a 6-day wait for it to reappear.
It took 6 days for
Go
that
for the
thing to
first
come
one.
out.
I've seen the second one.
I mean, my daughter swallowed
First one.
swallowed. I forgot what she swallowed, but she swallowed something, and it came out 24 hours later. She ate something she wasn't supposed to. Let's do the first one. How does the driveway get stolen?
All right, Paige Batten from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania? Is that
From
like
Tennessee.
Christmas? Is that the North Pole?
Bought this house back in 2024. The hope was she would quickly flip it. Things appeared to have been going swimmingly with the job, with a
it got
buyer
flipped.
lined up to visit the property in November of this year. But Paige was in for a shock when she got a call from the potential buyer, as they had seemingly an innocuous question to ask for her that left her shocked. The story was picked up by Local 3 News. They spoke to Paige and the neighbors after she realized what had happened to the property, and now she's going to have to fork out thousands of dollars as a result because they stole the driveway, Alex. The driveway is gone.
You're not explaining to me how they stole the driveway.
Yeah.
How do you steal a driveway?
They tore out the entire driveway.
What do you do with that driveway?
Neighbors told Local 3 News they had seen 3 trucks arrive at the address and removed the stones. They assumed that they were there to work on the house and had been scheduled to be carried out. Instead, it included a trailer, a dump truck, and a hauling backhoe. There was a 3rd truck that was carrying different equipment. They took out the entire driveway.
So did they do it out of spite because they didn't like the individual? I don't think you're selling concrete driveway.
They stole it.
I mean, it'd be wild to go on Facebook Marketplace and be like, hey, I got some chunks of driveway if anybody wants them. Could put them in like silly putty and it'll make your driveway look brand new.
Those valuable stones could be sold. There's also the possibility that the crew was sent there by mistake and they got the wrong address. Have you ever seen that? Apparently this has happened before, where a crew will go and like do work on a house outside.
It almost happened to mine when we were doing
they like do all of it, and they just had the wrong address sent to them.
It almost, when we did our siding from those storms and our insurance covered it, we had the job done. And then 2 weeks later, a crew came out with new siding that was a complete different color. And they like unloaded it. It was in the front of my lawn. Thank God my wife was home and she walked out and she's like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, isn't this so-and-so address? And we go, no,
Imagine if they had charged you for that. That's thousands of dollars.
Well,
man.
and it's like, if you do the job, then now you have to take that down and you're putting new ones on, and then it gets, oh, God, I'm so glad she said something.
Yeah, thank God. All right, coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get into in or out. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. You give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are in or out in 15 minutes. But next, the solution to college football's biggest issues, they seem obvious to everybody that's watching this right now. But since none of that's going to happen, what can they do to solve the issue in front of them? We'll talk about it next here on 101 ESPN. So the college football playoff committee process has received almost unanimous criticism for the way that they arrived at these rankings. I think there are a lot of people, Alex, that believe this is the correct final decision. Putting Miami over Notre Dame feels like the right choice to me. I personally would belong in that category of thinking, all right, in the final rankings, you guys did a good job. The process leading to this place, though, was an absolute sham. And it was a mockery of the entire process. And that's what's frustrating. So now a lot of people are looking, and we're getting all these think pieces on how do we solve this? What's the solution? And for a lot of people, the solution is, hey, go to a 16-team playoff. And my response to that, Alex, is, well, then we're just going to argue about 16, 17, and 18. Now, that's not to suggest that it's the same level of argument, just as this is different than arguing 4, 5, 6. Those teams were more deserving of playing for a playoff spot than Notre Dame is this year, for example. But I do think that helps to solve some of these issues, especially by moving away from the conference championship game. I think the easiest solution to this is twofold. One, you go back to 5 different conferences that have 12 teams apiece. We have divisions where you play every team within your division over the course of the season, and then you have a few intra-divisional matchups where you play against like 3 teams from the opposing side of the conference every year as well. That turns over multiple seasons, and now you have more similar schedules for teams within the conference. You get to that conference championship game, which could be viewed as some kind of a play-in game of sorts, and then you go from there. You could also just have one final ranking. Maybe you put out one in like week 7 to give you kind of a mid-season, this is where things stand today, and then another one when we get to the end of the regular season, and nothing in between. Those 2 things would solve a lot of the issues that we have right now, because one of the biggest issues is uneven schedules, even within the same conference, where Vandy can have one schedule in the SEC, and Oklahoma can have something very different, and they can get to the same record with far different resumes, despite playing in the same conference this year. That is fixed, at least to some degree, by going to more conferences that are more evenly distributed. Now, since none of that's going to happen,
I don't know, Brandon. It sounds like a money loser.
Yeah, the easier one is just to get rid of the TV show.
None of that's going to happen because they're not going to get rid of the TV show all week long. They're not going to go back to what we used to have with the conferences, which always made more sense than what we currently have, which is basically 2 massive conferences that got way too big and 2 other conferences that are kind of Power 5 conferences, but aren't really. Let's be real. Look at the ACC. Look at the Big 12. Come on. So we're stuck with this.
Then don't ask me what are they supposed to do.
So what do they do, Alex?
Nothing. Stick with it. What you've been, expand the playoffs. That's what you do. You go to 16 teams so then you could take some of the argument out. But guess what? When you get to 16 teams, then the 17th and 18th team are going to start complaining that they got screwed over.
So the next 3 teams that we were going to argue about.
Oh, this is going to make me want to throw up.
Vandy.
Because we would have had Notre Dame get in, BYU get in, probably Texas would have gotten
over Vandy.
And then, you've got Vandy, Utah, USC, Arizona, Michigan, Virginia, those kind of teams. All
honestly, you fixed the problem there then. Because with the exception of Vandy, whose quarterback is still going to keep complaining about not being in the playoffs, all those other teams, I don't know if they had a big case to be a playoff team.
Did Notre Dame?
But you said Notre Dame would be in at 16.
I know, but like I'm talking about in the current iteration with 12 teams, did Notre Dame have a great case?
It depends on who you ask.
Did
4 weeks ago, yes.
Yeah, 4 weeks
Am I
ago,
expanding the team for Texas to get in now?
Sure.
I'm fine with this. I want to make this more college football playoff games. I'm cool with it. If you're telling me I'm trading the conference championship weekend for an extra weekend of the playoff, I'm in. You don't got to sell me on this idea. But the notion that we're going to solve this by continuing to expand, no, we're just going to change the teams that we discussed. So if the idea is we need to eliminate this issue of the end of season, we're arguing over teams. We argue as people. This is what we do. Alex and I argue with our wives. T-Bone comes in during our shows, and then we argue together. It's all nonsense.
You argue about our wives, too?
It's the candy store of what matters. Like, none of this actually matters in the grand scheme of things. Now, there's a lot of money on the line, but none of it actually really matters or impacts our lives in, like, real, tangible ways. But we argue about it. It's fun. That's not going to change by us expanding the playoff. The actual solutions to what's going on, it requires some kind of oversight from somebody that has real power over the conferences. And since that both doesn't and will not exist within college football, there's no solution to the problems that we are currently seeing within the sport. So really, it just goes into, hey, man, get used to it. This is going to be the way of the future.
Yeah, the solution is going to be internal, where all of the college football fans just know that the first 4 episodes of their college football playoff ranking reveal, none of those matter, and just wait for the final TV show.
Yeah.
They should just have a lower third that says none of these rankings matter until the final week of college football.
Pat McAfee show puts up. This is all comedy. Don't take any of this seriously. Like, there's a big disclaimer at the beginning of the show.
This is just a money grab.
I mean, you might as well put it on there, just rolling across the bottom of the screen. A reminder, last year Miami was here and Notre Dame was here at this point in the season. Don't take any of this seriously until week 15.
A reminder, this show is like, whose line is it anyway? Everything is made up and the points do not matter on what we're doing on rankings.
If you do it that way, I feel pretty good about it. Can we talk about one thing, though, that is kind of driving me bonkers this week?
Only one thing.
Yeah, because like none of this, I think they got it right. I don't have a whole lot to be mad about.
Still
right
think
now.
Alabama shouldn't be in, but whatever.
I am a little annoyed by this particular line of thinking that seems to be gaining steam nationally.
No one in America, aside from JMU or Tulane, thinks that JMU or Tulane can win a championship this year. Like, that's the matter of fact. But they're in it because we had to include them based on the parameters that we were given. And I think that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. I don't know what those thresholds could be, but we're trying to include teams to make them a part of this when I think everyone knows that, yeah, they're good, but can they play with the big boys on a year in and year out? I don't know if that's the case, and I think that's what's going to rub Notre Dame, Texas, and Vanderbilt, because they could absolutely get hot and win it.
I have good news. We're going to find out. Isn't that the goal of all of this, is that we get to find out?
I'm sorry, but you can't make that statement and act as if Vanderbilt or Texas could go on and win the college football play. Like,
I think he's talking about Notre Dame. Like, that's the team that he's specifically referencing
but
here. Like,
Notre
Dame got held out because we needed to get James Madison and Tulane in. And I'm good with that.
Still don't know if I would have believed Notre Dame is going to go on to win the college football championship.
Agreed. But if we're going to have a 12 to 16 team playoff, can we please at least include one guaranteed spot for them? Just one. 1 out of 12, 1 out of 16 feels more than fair for the, 60 teams that are participating in college football outside of the Power 5 conferences.
Amen.
You get one spot for every single one of you. And by the way, there wasn't supposed to be 2. The only reason that there is because the ACC was so embarrassing as a conference this year that their champion didn't get in. Their ACC was so bad that Notre Dame was penalized for having some kind of an agreement with them for their scheduling, and they got all of the crap-ass teams, so their schedule stunk this year. It's true. I mean, let's be real. That's why they're missing out on the playoff, because they had a soft schedule. If they had the same level of schedule as Oklahoma did this season, if they had a scheduling agreement with the SEC and they got the right partners in it, they would be in the playoff. They would have been in over Miami, clearly, because they don't value the ACC schedule. But the reason that James Madison is in is because Duke, who did not finish in the top 25, ended up winning your conference championship game. I'm sorry, take care of business, ACC. If they would have gotten in over James Madison, who went 12-1, and I'm happy to have them as a part of this thing. If nobody else from that godforsaken conference took advantage of their opportunity, then good on James Madison for doing so. And I'm fine with them getting mollywopped the way that Michigan State used to, or Cincinnati used to, or all of these other teams that used to be involved in the 4-team playoff when we complained about the first round massive landslide games. Well, now that just goes to James Madison, and it goes to Tulane. They're probably going to lose by multiple scores. I think James Madison is a 21-point underdog in their first game. Guess what? I like the story. Sue me.
That's what I was going to say.
I think it's fun.
I think it might be more entertaining to watch those teams just because I'm curious what it looks like. It might look ugly, but for the first 5 minutes, it'll be interesting versus seeing Texas or Vanderbilt into the football game. Yeah, I know what those teams are by now.
And let's not act like this doesn't happen in other sports. The NFL has boundaries of, hey, here's how we determine the 7 teams, and there is no at-large bids. Guys, we have to watch the Steelers right now in the playoffs. Think of that. We had to watch the Buccaneers, who I think were below 500 at one point, host a playoff football game. Or the
Commanders. Might get the Panthers.
That's who it was. Commanders were, I think, below 500, and they had Taylor Heineke as their quarterback running out there and hosting a playoff game. This stuff happens. It's okay.
One of my favorite memories is from my childhood watching college football was the Boise State story. The fact that they were able to win that huge BCS bowl game, it was, one of the core memories from my childhood. That's one of the biggest upsets that I can remember. We watch every weekend in college football for the possibility of upsets. App State versus Michigan will forever live in my memory. Northern Illinois taking down Notre Dame last year, a team that ultimately went to the college football playoff, that will forever live in my memory. Those are regular season games, man. Now imagine something like that where James Madison is actually able to win this. Now, I don't think they're going to. I want to make that very clear. I do not think James Madison will win in their opening game going up against Oregon. I think they will probably lose by multiple scores. Can they win? Of course. I've seen far crazier upsets than what could potentially take place in this game. Could Tulane beat Ole Miss? Yeah. Ole Miss doesn't have their head coach. And Tulane's a really good defense. Do I expect it? No, of course not. I think Ole Miss will probably win that game. But I've seen upsets in this sport. We see it in college basketball all the time, where the gap between the best and the middle of the pack is smaller than it's ever been. We've seen this in college football all season long. The gap is not as big as it once was between the best teams and everybody else because of the transfer portal, because of NIL. So, yeah, I have no issue with this. In fact, I'm glad that we see something like this season.
And I'll add this. The FCS playoffs, I know it's a different animal. North Dakota State has always been the powerhouse of the FCS. They always were the 1 or 2 seed. They were the 1 seed this year. They seed the top 8. They were a 23.5-point favorite to beat Illinois State this weekend in the playoffs. You know who won? Illinois State. That's why you play the football games, right? Yeah, they probably won once out of 100 times. Guess what happened? It was the one time for Illinois State. James Madison, Oregon could play 100 times. Oregon probably wins 99 of them. Maybe the one time is this weekend where they pull it off.
Exactly. Somebody on the text line or on the YouTube chat, Eric says, BK, James Madison and Tulane have no chance. Notre Dame would boat race both teams. Well, Notre Dame had an opportunity this season to take care of business on the field, and they did not do so. Now, these teams will have an opportunity to take care of business on the football field. We'll find out if they can. The answer is probably no. But isn't this why we play the games? If it was all theoretical, why have never played the games? Let's just go by the betting lines, and we can just name a national championship based upon the power rankings.
Yeah, man.
I would like that as a Chiefs fan because, man, the Chiefs are power rated better than all these teams in the NFL. They keep losing. And if you're betting against the Chiefs, man, it's been a highly profitable experience for you over this season. So,
for some.
Yeah. You've got the opportunity to make that case if you want to. Go ahead and bet on them. It's now legalized here in the state of Missouri. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Coming up next, time for In or Out here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here in Missouri. It's finally here. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live here in your state. And tonight I'll be getting in on the action myself. I'm going to be taking the Eagles -2.5, the under 41.5 in this matchup tonight. And again, you can get in on this action right now as things are kicking off, and you'll be able to download that DraftKings Sportsbook app. You bet $5, and you can get $500 in or $300 in bets here with DraftKings Sportsbook. So make sure you download that DraftKings Sportsbook app now. You can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all right from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. Again, you can just bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Tanner as new Missouri customers bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code Tanner. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for in or out. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are in or out here on 101 ESPN. Ollie Marmol on foul territory right now. Couple of things that he has said. Quote, we're going to keep competitive and keep the standard high, but at the same time set ourselves up for success in the future. Believes that more trades are coming. He also added a couple of things on Wilson Contreras, said that he, quote, wouldn't put it past Wilson Contreras to catch again. I think there's some versatility there. Ollie Marmol says that Contreras feels at home in St. Louis, but if a fit elsewhere makes sense, it is a conversation that they are able to have with him.
He was talking about wouldn't rule out him catching again somewhere else, right?
That's my assumption.
Okay, I was going to say, we're not going back down that path again, are we?
Do not think that
Thought Herrera was the guy.
Here. But that is something that maybe could happen elsewhere. You might as well say that. Doesn't hurt his value elsewhere.
Yeah,
People think
pump
that he
the
could
tires.
potentially
Hines
catch.
probably being like, hey, man, let's get these guys moved out.
I also think it's worth noting, according to reports, the Cardinals were the only team that believed he was a catcher when he was going through the free agent process. So I'm not sure that that's going to be his future position.
You
elsewhere.
can't nail them all.
All right, guys, let's get into this. In or out, the Kansas City Chiefs will still make the playoffs.
Oh, man, I want to say out because I don't think they can win out. I don't think they could beat the Broncos. I think they could win the other 3 games. I just don't think they could beat the Broncos. And I'm saying this as a Broncos hater, but, man, I've watched Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce really struggle to catch a football, so I'm out.
I'm out as well. I'm giving up on them. I don't think they are going to get the I don't think they're going to get the breaks they need, and I don't think they're going to win out either. So they're not a playoff team. They're staying home.
Same here. Alex?
I don't have one. T-Bone, will you go?
You know what? I appreciate that honesty.
Let's just get to other
Sometimes
people.
I can tell Alex is making one up on the fly.
Yeah.
Today, he just said, not happening.
Yeah, I don't have one.
Happy holidays.
Just move on. Happy holidays. We're not there yet, but go ahead, T-Bone.
Guys, in or out, Nolan Gorman will be with the Cardinals for the start of 2026.
And I think him and Newbar will be here. I think Donnie will be gone. I think JoJo will be gone. I think those are the two big ones.
Do you think it's because they don't want to sell low, or it's because they want to see if there's still more in there? And maybe it's both.
The former. I think there's still maybe a little bit more in there. There's no reason to sell low. And he's left-handed power, whether that's a starter for you coming off of the bench.
Get more and maybe trade him
thing.
when the stock rises. I'm in as well. I just don't think you move him. I mean, I like the idea of going out there to get an Alec Boehm and then maybe moving Nolan Gorman to see what you can get. But if the return's low and it doesn't benefit your team, then yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm in as well. I would rather hold on to him, not because I think there's more there. I think you know what he is. My hope would be, we've seen Gorman, right? He gets hot for a month, cold for a month, hot for a month. If he can get hot for 2 of the first 3 months, now you've got yourself a trade candidate. Now you've got something you can move on from at the trade deadline. So I am in. I don't think they're selling low on him or Lars Nootbaar.
People on the YouTube chat are commenting that they're watching the weather report behind you right now.
As you can see, it's going to be cold, St. Louis.
T-Bone, I've heard you're a great weatherman.
You've got the TV on behind T-Bone, and it's just got the weather going.
Good stuff?
On in the background. It's wonderful.
I could be a weatherman, I think.
Could you?
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for in or out. Guys, in or out. People are overreacting to teams deciding to opt out of bowl games this year.
People are overreacting. I'm out.
You think that it's...
I don't think people are overreacting to it. Who cares? It's an exhibition game.
So you do think people are overreacting to it?
Sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're confusing me, which is a dangerous thing. You're
He's confused. I could be a weatherman.
I was very surprised by his take on this. I was like, wow, we agree? Okay.
Yeah. I'm in the camp of the non-confusing part of T-Bone. I think people are overreacting because I just think bowl games don't matter.
Come on, tell me about it.
You think fun matters?
Yeah. What bowl are you guys in?
I agree with Doug on this.
Oh, jeez.
Doug said it earlier today, and I completely agree with him. I think it's crybaby behavior by Miami. I absolutely
Notre
do.
Dame, you mean?
Yes, by Notre Dame.
We don't want a bowl game, even though we're in the playoff.
Yeah, we'd rather play in the bowl.
I understand that the playoff is all that matters to most schools. If you're opting out of a bowl because you have a new coach, like Kansas State, I get it. You have a new coach that's implementing his new system. There's probably half of your roster that's going to be going elsewhere next year. You're not going to have most of your team. It's actually probably detrimental to continue playing football games and having all of these practices and whatnot. It's better to just focus your attention elsewhere. Same thing for Ohio State. Your coach just left you, this week. I'm cool with you opting out. Notre Dame just said, we're going to take our ball and go home. Why? This is an opportunity. You're only guaranteed 12 of these every year. And these kids, for many of them, it is the last time they will ever play football. And for most of them, their dream has been to play at Notre Dame. They have one more chance to be able to put on that uniform. They did not know last time that they took the field that it was going to be their last.
You don't think he had the conversation with those players?
Not every single one of them. I guarantee you there are seniors that wanted to play another game.
Well, see, I think he had the conversation with all of the players.
Sure, and you do majority. Majority rules. If you guys want to play this game, we'll go play it. If you don't, then we won't. You think every person that wanted to play decided to step up and say that? There's conversations that we have around the station where I want to do something that nobody else wants to do. I'm like, not worth fighting.
Let's find out. What are those?
So,
yeah. What did you?
In this scenario,
I know it was asking us about talking to the Missouri baseball
scenario
because he made it on air.
Let's go get Gene Keady.
He had won an SEC game last year.
Gene Keady could talk college hoops.
I'm
Didn't
on
even
my
know
high
what
horse,
state he
guys.
was in.
Don't knock me off this purchase.
I really wanted to do a podcast about dad stuff.
If we could get it sponsored, I think we could get that one off the floor.
Everything gets sponsored.
If you're interested in sponsoring the Dad Pod, reach out to us. Just send us an email. bkiley@101espn.com. Happy to talk to you about it. In this scenario, Alex, I think it's really disappointing that Notre Dame decided to do this. And I know they're just exhibitions, and maybe this is on me. I feel differently when kids opt out. That is an individual decision. When the team makes the decision for you, and you as a senior don't get to put on that uniform one more time, man, yeah, I've got a problem with that. So that's my opinion on the matter. I understand most people disagree with it. That's cool. I thought it was a disgrace what they decided to do.
Oh, a disgrace.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line.
T-Bone just
in or
BK
out.
just wants the kids to have fun.
Guys, in or out, Joel Hofer should start the next game for the Blues.
And I think he starts the next two.
I'm in as well. I think you got to ride the hot hand. If you're going to get back in the playoff race, even though it's only 2 points, you got to continue to go with the goalie that's hot.
I mean, you've done this whole back and forth thing for the last couple of weeks, and what has this gotten you? A 1-2 game win streak? Two game win streaks?
From Symphonic Metalhead, excuse me. Very different.
Or he's a meathead. You never
In
know.
or out, the Packers-Bears game was the best game of the day yesterday.
Oh, I'm out. I think it was Bengals-Bills.
That
You
was
get the
awesome.
snow involved. There's nothing better than a good snow game. I'm just convinced of that.
I think Bears-Packers was the highest quality football that we saw yesterday. The most entertaining game, I think, was Bengals-Bills, but I think the most high-level football was Bears
Well,
versus
you didn't think it was high-level football with Bills and Bengals? High-level offense? You just don't like the defense.
Correct.
Well, some would argue that defense is boring and we want more offense.
People are mad at me because they said the players voted on this. Sure. And if there was one player...
BK's mad about the backup kicker that says, I wanted to play in the bowl game. My mom and dad wanted to see me play.
I love practice.
If
I'll
you
be
have
on the team
100
next year.
kids on a team and 65 of them decide we don't want to play in this bowl, that means 35 of them did. And you opted out despite their wishes. So,
Well,
Life's
welcome to a
life-
democracy.
I also think
Life's
this is a
unfair.
scenario where, life is unfair, and you didn't get into the college football playoff.
Oh, he's getting angry.
I know, but like, this was a potential life lesson
Tough
here.
guy.
You didn't get what you wanted. That doesn't mean that everything is a failure in your life. And that seems to be the way that we're approaching this. I think it's such a bad look for the university, for the program, for a coach that I think is a really good football coach in Marcus Freeman. They all look like crybabies here. And they all look like they're anyways. Coming up in 15 minutes.
We want to play in the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Pop-Tarts, Pop-Tarts.
If it was your dream, Alex, to play at Notre Dame, and you thought you had one more game, you were a senior, you thought you had one more game, you're never going to make it to the NFL. Most of these kids will never sniff an NFL practice squad, much less get onto a roster. And you thought a week ago, I've got another game. Because at the time, you think you're going to the playoff, if nothing else. But definitely you're going to a bowl game, a good bowl game. Like you're going to the Citrus Bowl. That's a good one, man. And then you decide suddenly yesterday, I'm never playing football again. My career's over. That sucks, dude. And maybe yesterday you thought that was a good idea. Because in the moment, you're pissed. Because 24 hours ago, you think you're going to the playoff, and now I'm not. And so you're mad, and I know that all of us here in this room can empathize with somebody that's upset and frustrated and say something or do something that they don't mean that they live to regret, right? Like we've all been there. And these are decisions that you have to live with for the rest of your life. And somebody needed to be the big boy, the adult in the room that said, we're not doing this. We are not eliminating the last opportunity for you to play for this program because we got screwed. In their eyes. I don't think that way, but they did. They believe they got screwed. We're going to give you one more chance to put on those golden domes, and we're going to play in one final game together.
But maybe they didn't have enough people that were agreeing to play in it to even field a team. Maybe this whole conversation comes down to 15 guys that said, yeah, we want to play one more football game because we didn't get to play this year.
Yesterday, I believe that was probably the case. I think if you had that exact same conversation a week from now, you would have gotten different answers.
But you do have to make a decision sooner rather than later. You can't
100%.
sit on stew on this for 2 weeks.
You had to make the decision yesterday, and that is why I would have said if I was the athletic director at the university, we are going to a bowl game this year. We are. Along with 100 other programs. Like, I think Notre Dame pretends as if they're like their own thing. They're their own entity. They got to play by their own rules. Cool. Sorry.
Can't we make the same argument for K-State if we're going to argue for Notre Dame? I get what you're saying about the coach quitting.
No,
but
I think
those
it's a
kids,
completely different
But
situation.
those kids didn't know their coach was retiring. I don't think
those
like
kids
2
wanted
weeks
to play
ago.
too, right?
So those seniors probably thought I got 3 games left.
Why can't we
And
play
then
with
their
an interim
retired.
coach?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say they probably didn't have the same excitement to play that last game as Notre Dame did.
I don't know if Notre Dame guys are very excited about another football game for how pissed they are at college football for not letting them in.
I think it's a completely different situation.
We're the
I think
kids
most of those kids at
America.
Kansas State are
Whoa.
thinking about where they're going to play next year and who their coach is going to be.
All these guys have to get jobs now.
Yeah, Notre Dame's got a very different situation on their hands. I think it's kind of apples and oranges.
You know what
there.
I appreciate about you, buddy? You stand up for the little guy.
I didn't
I'm
appreciate you
consistent in
firing
my
the
opinion.
tone at me. I go, oh, sorry.
Yeah, you did get really Tony at T-Bone. I forgot even what word he said, but he
I don't know. But
he went at you.
He even did the head bob forward. I almost,
That's all right.
Somebody said, you're playing because BK's mad you don't want to play. Exactly.
BK wanted us to play football.
Coming up
Sounded like
next, let me
South
bet on
Park.
your football game. Coming up next, we're going to get to our football pick'em here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with the Sports Center update brought to you by Soliga Heating and Cooling. Blues will be back in action tomorrow night when they host the Boston Bruins. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Ferrario. Puck drop at 7 o'clock with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. This Sports Center update is brought to you by Soliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Let's dive into our football pick'em reveal. It is the first week of the month of December for our pick'em challenge. We begin with Alex, who... We'll see how you do, buddy. We'll see how you do. He had a bad week on the Survivor side of things. He had a bad week with all of his NHL betting. You went 0 for 31 on parlays this weekend. Let's see how he did on the football side of things, though. T-Bone is going to tail his 1-point play.
Falcons got nothing else to play for right now. The Seahawks, of course, are still battling out in that NFC West. And I frankly just, Darnold makes me nervous, but that defense and that overall offensive playmaking ability seems to be able to cover that spread.
That's why they are my 2-point play, are the Seattle Seahawks. I'm with you. I love their defense going up against Kirk Cousins. I wish it was 6.5, not 7. Even then, I don't think I'm going to have to sweat this one. I feel good about the Seahawks -7 on the road.
Darnold on third down. Pressure comes to the end zone. It's Jackson Smith and Jigba for the second time today with a touchdown.
The Seahawks against bad teams are a covering machine. I haven't seen what the line is yet. I wonder what the line's going to be for Seahawks versus Colts next week.
Oh, they've got
Seahawks are at home.
I'm going 6.5.
Oh,
is it Colts? It's got to be like Colts something.
No,
it's Seahawks. It's big.
11.5.
Oh,
I think I'd take it.
I think I'd take that too.
I don't know. That big spread.
How are the Colts putting up points?
Exactly.
I don't know. But
How are they putting up
That defense
points?
is so good, man. The Seahawks defense is legit. They're awesome. Good pick by both of you guys. The Falcons are just playing out the string. Unfortunately for them, they also don't have a first-round pick next year.
Yeah, it's ours.
Congratulations to the Rams on that. All right, so that's a 1-point win for Alex, a 2-point win for T-Bone to kick things off. Alex, let's go to your 2-point play for the week, all right?
Alex likes the Bears +6.5 on the road at the Falcons.
On the fake. Williams looking, throwing. It is intercepted. Keyshawn Nixon and the Packers will win it.
Honestly, I'm upset with that one, but you play with fire long enough, you're going to get burned. And I've been betting on the Bears for the last few weeks, and at some point that was going to bite me in the rear end, and it did that week.
Somehow that was actually not the most devastating play of the week for Alex. Let's get to his 3-point play.
All right, 3-point play for me. I can't believe I'm picking this team because I despise this team, but their opponent is the reason I'm picking them. I'm taking the Denver Broncos -7.5. I mean, we've said this all along. I don't know how the Raiders score points. I know, like, Geno has played well. That's fine. But against this defense, I don't know how they put up points.
Kick it, try an onside kick it, hope for the Hail Mary. That's what you're telling us, right, Andrew? Something like that?
I think he's saying there's a different interest now in this play.
46-yard attempt for Carlson. Carlson's kick is good with no time left. So count the 3. That makes it a 7-point difference. 24-17 the final.
So for those that didn't watch this game, let me take you through this. With a minute left, the Broncos had the football at the Vegas 28-yard line. That's a 45-yard field goal. They have a very good kicker. They could have easily kicked it. They could have gone up 27-14 at the time. They choose not to. Instead, they run it on 4th and 4 from the Vegas 28. They don't get it, so Vegas takes over with the ball and a minute to go, down by 10. They decide, you know what, let's go for this. Let's try to score here.
Yeah.
So they're moving the ball. Then, with 15 seconds left, they hit a shot play 25 yards down the field. They get it to the 28-yard line. There's also a penalty on the play on the defense. So with 3 seconds left, what does Vegas decide to do? We'll kick a field goal, of course, to go down by 7. Clock expires. They lose by 7 points. It was a 7.5-point line.
Yeah, NFL should just investigate Pete Carroll for having money on that one, because that's the only damn reason he'd decide to kick that stupid field goal. What are we actually freaking doing? Are you serious? Also, bleep you Broncos for not being able to make a damn stop against the freaking Raiders with 8 seconds left to go. You're going to give up that damn pass?
They didn't care. They were up by 10.
Yeah. It's about time you start losing picks.
All right, so Alex goes 1-2. He gets his 1 point this week.
1 point.
Let's get to my
Where you at the overall standings?
Play.
Bottom.
I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars at home as a 2-point underdog against the Indianapolis Colts.
15 seconds on the clock. Lawrence in the pocket.
Cannot take a sack.
Lawrence throws. Touchdown.
Never really had to sweat that one. Felt pretty good the whole time. Jaguars were the better team. Hit them on the money line for myself. Hit them +2 against the Colts. That's a 1 point play. Let's get to my 2 point play, which was also tailed by T-Bone for his 1 point play.
My 2 point play is the Washington Commanders as a 1 point favorite on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. I think they're the better team. I think they will go on the road against a really bad quarterback.
Tailing BK on this play. Originally, before the show today, this was the line in favor of the Vikings. And then the news got announced that Jaden Daniels was going to be playing in this football game, which had kind of been the known secret all week. So I couldn't figure out why this line was favoring the Vikings even before that was announced. I love the Commanders in this. The Vikings have a good defense. McCarthy looks bad against any defense.
Quick strike. Hawkinson stays on his feet. Touchdown. That might be an early fourth quarter dagger.
I should have known better. It was a Sunday night football overtime game against the Broncos, a devastating loss there, and then they go on the road against a really good defense. It's the first game back for Jaden Daniels. He looks terrible against that Flores defense. And just from the very beginning, you could tell, oh, this is not going to go our way, and it never did.
Yeah, no. The thing that was surprising to me was how good the Commanders' defense made McCarthy look.
They're terrible.
Yeah, but they're old. They're washed up on the defensive side of the ball. That was the most surprising part of me. If you told me, hey, the Commanders don't score against the Vikings, okay, I could have seen the path.
All right, my 3 point play. No surprise here.
My 3 point play, it's worked out well for me in recent weeks,
Don't
Alex.
do it, man. This
Pick
is a
with
trap.
your head, not your heart. My head is telling me the Kansas City Chiefs, without their left tackle, without their right tackle, without their right guard, with no pass rush to speak of, this is just not their year. So give me the Houston Texans +3.5 on the road at the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's got it here. Dario Ogunbowale to the goal line. He's in for the touchdown.
And you're right, you're right. I knew my team. They weren't ready for that game on Sunday. They didn't have the offensive line. It was just a terrible matchup. I think they beat a lot of teams on Sunday. That was not the team that they were going to beat. They came into the second half inspired. They played some really good football for about 25 minutes. Unfortunately, they went for it on 4th and 1 on their own end, and that lost the game for them because they couldn't convert, and they lose. The Texans cover. I get the 4 points this week. Nice start for me in my December. Let's get to T-Bone. We've already heard his 1 point play and his 2 point play. Let's get to his 3 point play.
And maybe this is me betting with my heart, but I am going with the Rams -8.5 at the Cardinals. And my thought process behind this, one, we saw today it was announced Marvin Harrison is out for this game, so he's not playing. So Jacoby Brissett's best weapon is now out of the lineup. Smart. And on top of that, Rams are the best team in the NFC, and they just laid a total egg against the Carolina Panthers. I think they're going to bounce back. They're going to want that 1 seed so Sean McVay can rest his guys before they start playing in the playoffs. I think they're going to come out. I think they're just going to dominate.
On first down, it's Corum. Blake Corum inside the 30, and he is going to take this all the way, 48 yards.
Is Blake Corum the starting running back?
Should be. He's more explosive right now than Kyron Williams.
He's been good, but their entire team is good. They rocked the Cardinals. The one thing that was noteworthy from the Cardinals, Michael Wilson, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns in that game. He looks like a legit #1 wide receiver. He is basically what they thought Marvin Harrison Jr. was going to be. It's weird the way that it happened, but whatever. The Rams get the win. They cover, and it was never really in doubt. T-Bone ends up with 5 points this week. I get 4. Alex gets the 1. Congratulations to you, Alex. All right. So that's where we're at after the first week in December. Overall, Alex is up to 44 points on the season. I'm at 37, T-Bone at 36, and for a good finish for this month and for the season at large.
I need to move on with this day.
The Rewind is next. With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. If you guys missed anything from today's show, I think it's been a fun one. Check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app. It's all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
That 101 ESPN app is super easy to use. It's free to download. It's sponsored by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. It's 157. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We only have about a minute to go here in the show today. Alex, your biggest takeaway from our conversations today is what?
I hate you guys for rubbing in what this weekend has been for me.
It was rough, man.
Didn't even really get deep into the Saints and Bucks, the survivor pool in our pick'em, which is I'm kind of glad about, but heard all about your winnings.
I think there's a goalie controversy in St. Louis.
Oh, God, and then he adds that to the end of this one. Unbelievable.
Time to ride Hofer.
At least the Blues are back.
Heim Bloom spoke yesterday with KMOX. We'll give you some of his comments tomorrow. Ollie Marmol talking right now with Foul Territory. We'll talk about some of his comments. I'm sure something will happen today at the winter meeting, so we'll get into that. We will also talk to Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider, coming up today on the Fast Lane. They will have JR. They will also speak to Blues head coach Jim Montgomery, who has a chance to go for their first winning streak of 3 games or more this season tomorrow night. You'll hear that right here on 101 ESPN. By the way, we have an update. Last Minute Blues podcast is going live from Hot Shots and Fenton next Tuesday. It's in support of Operation Food Search. It'll be Alex, JR, Donnie. They will all be there doing a live edition of the Last Minute Blues podcast. And just in, it will feature special guest Tony Twist. So don't miss that next Tuesday night. Check out all the details at 101ESPN.com. For Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. The Fast